Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to NSA. Hey, please help me welcome to the stage your current president, Dr. Jeannie Snyder.
Hey, everybody. What fun, huh? Oh, thank you, RHG. We got a new monitor like right here. Every month we come back and there are surprises at NSA Georgia, right? Every month we come back and there are surprises at Rich Hart Global Studios, right? Let's give them a hand. Welcome to NSA Georgia in March. Y'all, it's March. 2 days in. It's Women's Month, too. It's March. It's Women's Month. It's NSA Georgia. I am Dr. Jeannie Snyder at your service. I am serving you today. We're going to be talking about customers and customer solutions. I want you to start thinking right now about what you're serving up for your customers and what is that solution that you bring them. All right, we are wanting to thank the Rich Hart Global Studios team, everybody that's in the picture and everybody that I photoshopped in. Let's give them a hand. I realized Justin was not in there, so I had to add him in, right? So there we go. If this is your first time, raise your hand if it's your first time being in this studio. Okay, are you not amazed at what Rich Hart Global Studios does, and you need to take a tour and do all the things? We are so grateful as National Speakers Association Georgia to have this spot, to have our meetings and events. This is not normal, right? This is state of the art. We don't get to do, every chapter doesn't get to do this. So we are so grateful to Rich Hart, and thank you for being the warm-up guy today. That was excellent. We're going to add that into the run of show. I want to thank TM Hyman. TM, where are you? TM Hyman is our new run-of-show person. He is making all the things happen with the Rich Hart team. Did you stand up, TM? Did you stand up? He hates me for this. Okay, there you go. And Candace Doby, she is our Zoom MC today. Candace is also our president-elect, and we invite all of the Zoomers to turn on their cameras so Candace can see you. Candace, how's it going out there in Zoom land? We can't hear Candace. There we go. It's great. We got that part.
It's great.
Okay, good. And so tell us who else in Zoom room with you today.
We have Gazi. Say hello, Gazi, or wave your hand.
Gazi, you look like everybody's in nature today, it looks like.
Much warmer. One and only Michael Moore. Hello, Michael.
Michael Moore, thank you. Hope you feel better. So glad you're here. And Lisa?
Lisa Daniel, she's at a race. She is committed. She's here for
I feel like Lisa is like our sportscaster. She's like always at some event on Saturday mornings representing NSA Georgia. What event are you there today for, Lisa?
Hi, this is Barry College 10K, 5K, and half marathon run. So
Man.
I'm cheering him, and I'm cheering y'all too. So
I love it. And all the proceeds go to National Speakers Association Georgia. Is that correct? That's what I heard.
wait, what was that?
Yeah. That's right. All right, we've got some other folks. We hope that Samsung will turn on their camera at some point, and coaching, counseling, consulting. So we are so glad you're here. Our Zoomers are in the room with us, and we always want to remember that. So thank you. And then, Lisa's back off screen. I'm not seeing can we switch? Thank you. And I might have missed a slide. I did. Okay, one moment. Missed major slides. So in addition to Candace wanting to see you, our speaker, Alana Hill, we're gonna hear from her later. Alana, where are you? Oh, there you are on the front. Stand up so everybody can see you. Let's give Alana Hill a hand. She is here with us from Houston. I will introduce her properly after the break when she's about to do her MainStage keynote, but you're going to see the many solutions of Alana Hill today. So if you just talk to Alana for just a few minutes, you're going to find out all the things that she does, as well as being a professional speaker. She is also on our chapter leadership committee for National Speakers Association, and she is a past president and past programs chair of the Houston NSA chapter. So Alana is going to be here with you, and also raise your hand if you are just graduated from Speaker Academy or just signed up for our new Speaker Academy. Okay, you get a special treat because since we don't have a speaker, since we haven't started the new one yet, and we're in between, you get a special treat. So right after we finish at 12:30, meet Alana. But raise your hand, Rich, right back there. Rich and the apples and the oranges. Meet Alana by the apples and the oranges, even if there aren't any left at the end of the day. But you're going to meet, if you are just graduating Speaker Academy or in the new class, please join Alana back there. And I want to take just a moment to talk about our Speaker Academy folks. If you are new to us, Speaker Academy is our program where you can go in 6 months from maybe not having ever done a paid speaking engagement to on the stage with your video, ready to promote. Do I hear a yes from our Magnificent Seven? The Magnificent Seven that just graduated. Stand up if you are the Magnificent Seven, part of the Magnificent Seven. Wow. We have the Magnificent Five here today. Now stand up if you are the yet-to-be-named new Speaker Academy cohort. If you have signed up to be, we've got Audrey Boyce, we've got Tom Wilner, Renee Brown. We have, okay, if you will remember, our last time we were together in February, we just watched the Magnificent Seven graduate, correct? Then we said, hey, y'all, the new one's starting in March. 11 people in 10 days out of the 12 spots signed up. Very exciting. So what does that mean? Do your math. There is 1 spot left. It is capped at 12, even though Richard Harden said 7 was a lot. 12 was our cap, and we're at 11. We have 1 amazing spot left for someone to join in Speaker Academy. Is it going to be you? It is. Okay. Excellent. I love the voluntold part. Okay, so 1 spot left. That registration closes on March the 10th. That 1 spot is open till March the 10th. And then we are going to be moving into starting that cohort on Wednesday night, March 13th. If you signed up for Speaker Academy, please see me today. We're going to talk about some of the dates and things, and you're going to get a final confirmation of all those dates. What that includes is you're going to come on a Wednesday night, but via Zoom every other week. You're going to come to 2 days of boot camp separate. We are always tweaking our program based on what our Magnificent Seven said. And so they like 2 different days of boot camp. What you're doing there is you're going to be working with Richard Harden, our Director of Speaker Education. Richard, where are you? I know you're in the room. Richard, on the front row. I'm just skipping right over the front row. So Richard Harden, stand up so people can see you. So Richard Harden is our Director of Speaker Education. And he is going to be overseeing and making sure that this program is exactly what you need. We also have many of our members. Stand up if you helped in some way with Speaker Academy this past time in any way. Paul Shemp, stand up. Okay. All right. So many of our members also help to coordinate pieces of pieces of the program. You're learning from people that have been in the speaking business for a while. In addition to that, and our pro speaker for this cohort is none other than Mark Brown, CSP. Now, Mark cannot be with us today because he is in India. Okay, whatever. So Mark is serving the world everywhere. So as you think about that, we've got that 1 spot left to join in Speaker Academy. Now, also at your service, and now taking reservations for Speaker Academy and other things is our board of directors. This doesn't happen by accident. Your board of directors and all of their teams are here making not only this event happen, but also all of our other events. So if you are on our board of directors, please stand and you can grab. What's that? It's a lot of Candace. What? It's a lot of Candace? Oh, that is hilarious. Candace, this is... You know what? This is so funny because when I make the slide deck, the board of directors slide takes the most time because I have to cut out their little heads, figure out what kind of funny thing we're going to do, and then I have to copy their names. And I was so proud of myself when I was putting the deck together because I said, wow, I did that slide like 2 weeks ago. But I did not put their names. So everyone, stand up if you are Candace Doby today. I love that, actually. Okay, so the real Candace Doby is on our Zoom, who you have spoken to today. And then let's see, this is Richard Candace Doby, Richard Harden, Richard Candace Doby Harden. Okay, and then y'all stand up again so I can get to you. Okay, their real names are Richard Harden, Director of Speaker Education, Siobhan Reed, our Director of Marketing, Pam Line Miller, Immediate Past President, Director of Finance, Judy Herman, our Director of Member Engagement. That's for the care and feeding of all of us. Derek Grissom, he is our Director of NSA Georgia Culture. Paul Shemp, our Director of Speaker Education. Tyran Jackson, our Director of of Member Outreach. He's the stalker. He's coming after you. And also, thank you so much. When Jeannie has a flat tire on 95 yesterday, he's the picker-upper of our keynote speaker, Alana. So, and then we also have Chris. You may have a seat. Thank you so much. And then the other Candace Dobies are Christy Renee. She is our Director of Speaker Strategy. Make sure you see the new article about her Magnificent Seven that she put out this month. And Leslie Gordon, who made a lot of things happen here today, even though she needed to be with family today. And so, who else have I not recognized? That's everybody. All the Candaces? Okay. Candaces are now taking reservations. All right. I'd like to introduce now to bring up Tyran, who you just met, and Judy, who you just met. If you will come to the stage, they are in charge of our customer satisfaction, really. They are the ones not only looking for new members and inviting you in and letting you know about what we do here at NSA Georgia, they and their teams and all of us. And Judy's team is working with member engagement. And once you have said, yes, I'm coming in and I'm paying, then you are then going to be reached out to by Judy or her team and asked how you want to get engaged. If you're on a membership team, I know we've got Naomi in the crowd. Tiffany is between two teams with marketing and member engagement. Yep, to get in the light. All right, so y'all can come closer.
And we have Michael Moore that's on the
Michael
Zoom
Moore,
as part
that's
of the
right.
committee.
The flag right
And
there
also
is Michael
Dr.
Moore.
Tracy.
And Dr. Tracy, where are you? There she is, Dr. Tracy.
she
And Dr. Tracy was also one of our speaker Uber drivers this morning. So, takes a village, babies.
May I say something?
You may.
I want to let you know it is so exciting to be part of the member engagement and committee and lead this committee. And we have an awesome orientation every month. And it's the second Thursday of the month. So the next one coming up is the 14th.
March 14th.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that you are taken care of. Once you join, you need to be real thorough about a lot of things. We don't want you to fall through the cracks. Plus, if you join and you're not here for a while, and we're going to notice that. We're going to give you a call. So the reason, and Naomi and Tiffany, why don't y'all stand up? One of us are going to, and also Dr. Tracy, we're going to give you a call. Say, hey, how are you doing? And how can we serve you and what's going on? So I want to let you know, you will get a call from one of these, reach out. So yeah, just want to let you know.
And if someone doesn't renew.
Oh, that's so important. You do not want a lapse in your membership whatsoever. Because if you do, you're going to lose a significant discount. And as speakers, we all need to be aware of our significant discounts for our chapter. I mean, yeah, there's only so much of us that goes around. We want to milk it for all it's worth, right? So don't let your membership lapse, and if you're close to it, we're going to give you a call. Say, hey, we missed you, but you don't want to miss out, because if you miss out, what Mark Brown says on his podcast all the time, if you miss one event or one session or whatever, you miss a lot, and that is so true here with our Georgia chapter as well. All right, over to you there, Tyran.
No problem, no problem. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you all for being here this morning. It's great to see everybody here in the building for NSA Georgia. What I'd like to do first off is recognize those that are part of the membership outreach team that are here. So Yannick, who's here, if you don't mind standing up,
Yay!
As well as those who else
Yay!
help out with the committee. Lisa Daniel, who is on Zoom, so she's here, and Glenn Gould, who isn't on today, but he's helping out as far as membership outreach. Just as Judy talked about, for those of you who become members, being able to get that phone call, being able to get contacted with about what's going on. For those of you who have on the red badges, those who are not members of NSA Georgia yet, but want to learn more about what it takes to become a member of NSA Georgia, I'm your guy. We're going to talk about the benefits of being a part. Of course, you're getting to see this firsthand, what we're doing here at the main stage, but don't forget there's so much more. We have our masterminds, and where's Cricket at? Cricket had a phenomenal mastermind yesterday. We do this once per month, so definitely want to point that out. We also do our social events. Am I going too far, Jeannie, into what else in the program? Okay, I'll stop. But I just want to let you know there is...
You're merged on other people's things.
I'm
But you're
sorry.
talking about member benefits.
I am.
So it all does. But, you know, you don't have the whole show today. So
Okay, I'm sorry. Look, let me end by saying this. For those of you who aren't members, you're missing out. There's a lot of value in what we do, and thank you for being a part. So, and then on that note, what we like to do is acknowledge our actual new members who joined in the month of February. So with that said, is Miss Tisha Carter here?
Let's give her a hand anyway.
Give her a hand. Okay. Ronnie Cyrus Jackson,
Okay.
not here, but another great person who made the jump to become a new member. Dick Burleson. I know Dick he said he was going to join the Zoom, but he decided to take the leap and come in and be a part of NSA Georgia. So let's give a hand for Dick.
Unless he's behind that. I don't know who's
Might
behind
be.
that other thing.
Okay. And then Michelle Bumpers. She joined us this past month as well. Okay, all right. And the other ones were already.
Here we go.
All right. And then here's the remaining new members. Bonnie Malden, who has been here several times. I know she's not here today. One person who is here, Andre Michaels. Where are you at, Andre? If you could, Andre, if you could make your way up to the stage, we have your official NSA Georgia membership badge that we'd like to present to you. And I know I'm going to mispronounce the name.
Yanita Beer is
Thank
how
you.
she says.
Yanita.
Yanita Beer is what she
Janita.
says. So think
Okay.
Yanita Beer. Her last name's not Beer. Yanita.
Yanita.
Janita. Actually, you say it with a Janita.
Yeah.
Is Janita here? Janita Beer, Janita here? Okay.
So,
Is it good when we can't fit all of our new members on one slide? Andre's just wandering around. Did he get his name tag?
got his name
Did you
tag.
put it on? Are you putting it on? This is like kind of a thing. You're representing the whole team today. Let's hear it for Andre. Will you tell us a little bit about what you speak about and why you're here? You get the stage because there were 7, so you get to talk for a little bit.
I'm here to get over the fear of what's happening right now. Everybody is looking at me, and I'm sitting up here going, why y'all looking at me? So it's a difference. Obviously, you guys know. It's a difference, when you're doing workshops or you're doing on the radio or whatever the case might be. But when you're commanding the stage, that's something totally different. And so that's why I'm here.
That was excellent. And that's why we're here, right? We are here to help you build your speaking business. And as Leslie Gordon said in the mastermind yesterday, help people get over their reluctance. Yeah. So we're glad you're here. Let's hear for Andre and all of our new members.
again, Andre. No problem, bro.
All right, anything else? You good? All right, thank you. Let's hear it for Tyran and Judy. And their teams, they are working tirelessly. Well, I don't know, you probably get tired, but you are working. We always say that, don't we? Working tirelessly. We don't work tirelessly, we work. So, but everybody here, the individual invitations are what make the difference for these butts and seats. All right, that makes to join NSA Georgia and to be here. We had to do a lot of reminders this time because March 2nd came up quickly, right? So we want to remember that. All right, thank you for that. Now we've got some interesting news. Our board met this week about a lot of really cool killer things that are coming up. But one of the things that we have not done in a very long time is raise our dues. All right, so you are about to hear a little bit of reason why. We literally have not raised our dues in years and years and years. In fact, we went down during the pan, came back up, but we're about to raise our dues. Now, we're not going to do that tomorrow. We're giving you a little time. So how many of you have not yet joined NSA Georgia? Please raise your hands. Okay, we're getting this on film in case you were wondering. We're coming after you. But so right now, if you will join between now and midnight, March 23rd, you can still join NSA Georgia for all of the benefits that Tyran and Judy just talked about, as well as all of our programs, which we have 4 a month, plus special events. We have the Mastermind with Cricket Harrison. We have the main stages. We have socials with our Culture Club, as we call it, with Derek Grissom. We're going to talk about the next one coming up in just a minute. And we have, what am I leaving out? Our new member orientation. Then we have workshops throughout the year. We had an amazing one in December. We're about to have another one that you're going to hear about a little later in April. And so all of those are included as a member. You might have to pay for a meal once in a while, but everything else is included. And you're going to have a real incentive for that. Remember that March 23rd date. If you join by then, you will still join at the $425 rate. After March 24th going forward, it will be $495. So we're not going up a lot, but I'd like to introduce to you, that is a scan, if you wanted to like pay right now or anything, there's a like QR code, okay, just in case you needed that. All right. And Alana, I'm not sure why that picture is out of thing, but Alana wants to see you too. Okay, I'd like to introduce now Pam Line-Miller. She is our immediate past president. She's also serving as our interim, which seems to never stop, director of finance. So she's helping take care of our treasury. And I wanted you to hear a little money moment. She shows us the money today because when we're talking about project management, we're talking about figuring out how we're growing our businesses. That's what we're focused on this whole part of this year. I want you to think about the money, and that's not as fun sometimes, but it can be. Right? So we want to talk about the money. But what Pam's going to tell us today is I want you to think about our business, our NSA Georgia. We have to manage our revenue just like you do, right? So I want us to think about that and what some of the exciting reasons coming up and why we might be going up, why we are going up on our dues and why you might join before March 24th. Pam?
Thank you, Jeannie. Good morning, everyone. I feel like the pastor who never wants to talk about money at your church. You know, you have to, the money talk. We are not passing a basket. As a matter of fact, one of our goals, we are members for members. We do not have we don't have salaried positions. All the board of directors people that Jeannie showed you, we are all volunteers. We have 2 people that we pay. One is today, Maggie is helping us in the back, and that's to save, thank you, Maggie. And sometimes it's Abigail. We have some different people that assist us. The reason for that is that during the meeting, we want our members to be able to engage in the meeting and not be making coffee or not covering the front door to help people that might be getting here later or making sure the food is taken care of. The name tags. Maggie is doing that for us today. That's one. The second is we have virtual assistants, which is new this year because Jeannie and I, we were the virtual assistants while I was president and she was president-elect. And I will tell you that if you get bogged down as entrepreneurs, we know what that feels like in the administrative trivia of what has to happen, who's signing up, the membership lists that are out front, compiling those, all those things, you don't get a chance to engage with your membership. So we made the choice when we got to a point where we could afford a virtual assistant, we wanted to have one, and we've got a great one. So that's another paid position for us on a regular basis. But we have some boring things we have to pay for. Let me say, we have to pay for insurance. For having events here, we have insurance in case somebody gets hurt here at Rich Hart. We're covered for that. We have to have insurance for the board of directors in case we screw up or omit something, not on purpose. Just the insurance costs. We have some other basic things. We have a bookkeeper that categorizes, when somebody comes in as a member and spreads that out. We have an accountant who files our taxes and does the 1099s for the 2 people that we pay, for example. And those are the boring things. But you know what we don't pay for? We don't pay for the awesome speakers that come in to our main stage every month. Did you know that? Alana, the people that we've had, yeah, you can say that. We have had, I know we don't talk about money here, but I will say we've had $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 and up national level speakers here on our main stage. And you might wonder why that is. Why are they coming here? Number one, it's the spirit of Cavett, the founder of NSA. There's more pie for everyone. And so the whole mantra is you just give. And we share with each other, we give to each other, and we're always doing that. And Alana is here on her time and giving us that gift. We pay just her expenses to get here, her flight, and we fed her because Yeah, we thought we should do that. So we fed her, but we get high caliber speakers here. And do you know why? Georgia is, according to the national level of National Speaker Association, we were awarded an elite chapter award last year. And that's a big deal. Yeah, there's only a couple of them. And honestly, we have not met another chapter that has a place to meet and invest in doing that like Rich Hart Studios. So we pay to come here to Rich Hart, but he gives us a good deal. He's one of our sponsors. We have his whole team back there. We have the hybrid meetings where you can come on Zoom if you can't make it. We have people from Tennessee, Alabama, other states that only come virtually to our events. And we love having them. We love for them to be able to tap into the wisdom that is shared from this stage. Why else do those speakers like to come? We give them the video when they're done. That's one of the benefits of coming and being on this main stage. It is a professional shoot, and you get the video. And you know what? That's worth something, right? Speaker Academy folks who just did your talk. Exactly. That is totally worth something. So the membership benefits, Jeannie already talked about. We have some things we have to pay for, but that's what your membership goes to. We do not want to be one of the chapters, and there are a lot that charge you a small amount of membership, but then you have to pay every time you do something. You're paying for this meeting and this get-together and that get-together. We don't want to do that. We like having the one fee and you don't have to worry about it, and then you're included in all the events. And we're adding, as our membership grows, okay, one more point here, because during COVID, let's just be honest, we lost a lot of our membership. We were down to like 60 members. 41, 42. Rich is throwing himself in there as like an additional member. At that time, I was the treasurer, believe it or not. Do I have a financial background? No. Can I do the numbers? Yes. I'm a computer science and math major in college. If anyone is a CPA or a financial person, would love to chat with you. I am the interim treasurer for, I'm not sure what the interim is. So, but I want to let you know, we are fiscally responsible. During COVID, when we lost that membership, Rich will ask you, we all sat down and we said, we just can't afford to come here. We can't afford to pay for what's happening here. We need to take some time off. We took 6 months off. We re-entered. Rich worked with us as we were building our membership back and taking our, being responsible fiscally. So we take that seriously. We want to serve our members well. That's why when you get a survey this spring, if we sent them out the past 2 springs, please answer it. Our program is based on what you put in that survey. We want to know what you need and what you want. It's all developed around that. And I'm just excited to be on the board. I'm excited to serve the membership. NSA Georgia has served me, and I'm thrilled to be able to give back. So I'm glad you're here. Thanks.
Thank you, Pam. She has been serving this double duty, so I would like to make another request. We've been looking for a treasurer director of finance all year. Is that you? Think about it. Think about it. All right, so that conversation is still going on. Pam, thank you for that. I think we're probably, because of that presentation, we're going to double your salary. Okay, thank you so much. I do want to take just a minute, though. Does anybody have any questions, Zoom land or in the room, about anything that Pam just said, or any questions that you have? Yes, Farrell. How many members are currently here? And if somebody, can we get somebody to run? Thank you, Tiffany. You're going to run mics. Oh, you weren't. You run. So thank you. Here comes a mic. But the question was, how many members we currently have? So we went as far down as you said as 41 during the PAM. And at the beginning of this year, we started with 84, and we are up to 100 and either 9 or 10, depending if that credit card came in. So that is, when we were talking about our member teams and all of us, this is no joke, y'all, to have that many members in 1 year. Now, we've still got to get some of the folks, that's why the renewals are very important to keep people involved. So we're right now at it's either 109 or 110 this morning. I think it's 109. So pretty incredible, right? Okay, and that's one of the things that they measured, the elite chapter that we won last year, that award. Some of that is you have to go up a certain amount on your membership. I think we've blown that number out of the water, so I think we're good. But we're not stopping, right? We got all the way till Influence in August. All right, other questions? Did it help to hear a little bit about how we use the money? We're quite good stewards of our money. Our board talks about that every time. And I do want to let you know we're doing some really interesting things in the next couple of months. I think you're going to be very excited about what's coming up. So, any other questions? Not just for now. Anytime you have a question, all of our board members are available. And so they're on the website. You can contact us. Our admin team, Jessica Kennison and her team will get us in touch with. If you have questions, please don't stop asking. And then I also want you to think about once you're a member, how do you want to serve? Which way do you want to get involved? Because people ask all the time. In fact, somebody was talking about this yesterday. I think Alana was telling the story about how she got involved with the Houston chapter at dinner last night. And she was saying, I just asked somebody, I'm like, well, should I go to this influence thing? And she mostly wanted to go because it was at Disney World. But she asked questions, and the president at the time said, just come and get involved. And once you get involved, you start figuring out not only what NSA Georgia, or in that case, NSA Houston, we have chapters all over the country, but what that and National Speakers Association does for you. So for those who are new, you pay dues to our chapter locally, and we still are one of the best prices in town, in the country. And then if you want to be a member of National, which I encourage as you grow in, those are two separate things, then you can join National as well. And Cricket on the mastermind yesterday kept bringing up how many things are in the vault, the National Vault. There's lots of things you can learn how to grow your business and hear speeches. All right, and then we have a vault on our website as well. So you can go in and hear if you're a member and you missed a keynote or missed one of our meetings, you can go in and watch the entire thing and go back and take notes, etc. All right, thank you, and thank you, Pam. All right, we talk about showing up. Today, part of that is what you're doing right now. Is showing up. It's being on the committees. It's showing up and asking hard questions so that we say, what do we need to do differently? As Candace Dobie, who's running the Zoom today, is our president-elect, she and I are talking all the time about what's this year, what's next year. There's a lot going behind the scenes about how we're planning for growing it. So we're always thinking about our customer solutions. That is you in this case. I would like to now introduce and bring to the stage Bruce Pulver. Bruce, if you'll join me up here on the stage. Bruce. Did you want to bring your book? No, it's okay. You decided he had a prop, and he's all changing. Okay, so I want you to introduce. Have a seat, Bruce. Bruce is a fairly new member. Bruce, when did you join NSA Georgia?
August.
August.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right before Influence, so that was July.
Okay, so Bruce Pulver, I call him the word guy, and probably some other people do, because Bruce loves words. And he loves speaking those words. And so his name of his company is?
Pulver Performance Services.
And your tagline is? Pull your mic up. Yeah,
Sorry.
mics. We are speakers and we use mics here.
That's
yes,
right, we do.
That's right. So what is words matter above the chatter?
Yeah, above the chatter, our words matter. So
okay.
That's it.
All right. So Bruce, what brought you to NSA Georgia? What made you decide to join us?
Well, I guess it was my dad. Always be a beginner at something. Always be willing to learn. So I wanted to go where I can grow. Where a better place to be than around folks who are doing what I want to do.
I love it. Great segue. So, because, he does words and things. So, but what are you growing in your business? Tell us a little bit about your speaking and your writing and your words and things like that. What do you want to grow?
I do keynotes and what I call word shops. And
Did you say word shops?
I said word shops.
That was not lost on us. Word shops.
Yeah.
Got it.
And the goal really is, I believe that everyone has hidden potential. And I call them gifts. God-installed features to share. And it's my mission.
GIFTS. Yeah.
To help folks understand that, to make sure that they don't diminish their worth and their value, because everyone is unique. And you can do things I can't do, and I need you to do the things you can do. The world needs that. So I go to companies, organizations, associations, and try to share that message and activate folks by understanding the power of a single word can change everything.
I love it. Try to share that message. I'm going to invite you to take Try out. You share that message.
Share that
you do.
message.
I've seen it. All right. So we are thrilled that you're part of NSA Georgia.
Thank you.
What is it that you bring to the table here, and what do you want to get out of us? How can we support
Yeah.
you?
So I am part of the engagement team. So one of the things I love to do.
Okay,
is,
they don't know this yet
Oh, they don't.
because Siobhan's like, hey, I thought he was on my team. Okay, so she's like Tiffany. He's going to serve kind of between
Yep.
your team and member engagement team. Siobhan's giving me the side eye, like what?
Well, so I think we get in where we fit in, right? And so where can I do my best work here? And certainly with Siobhan, there's some things we can do, but also, I kind of relate myself as like the general contractor. I may not know how to do it, but I may know a guy or a gal. So I love to connect. So we were talking earlier about, is there someone that, is looking for a certain person in a role, or is there something looking for a certain speaker? And it may not be my vibe, but it may be someone else's, so I know somebody. And that's what I hope to bring and also get out of, is how can we encourage each other to grow our businesses and really take action at that.
So one of the things that he's going to do, if you know our committees, what we've done this year is, in addition to having committees under each board member, is we also have liaisons between these committees, because it's not silos. You don't just, if you're just looking for members, Tyran does not just look for members and never talk to anybody else, and all we do is get members in and then he goes away. It's all connected. So that's how we're doing the board this year. And so in between almost every committee, there is some glue. And so, for instance, in this case, Siobhan, I promise, he's still around. Okay, so Siobhan, so he's going to be the liaison. She's like, yeah, right. Between Siobhan's team and Judy's team with member engagement, because one of the things you're super interested in addition to be the word guy, you also are interested in mentoring.
Yeah, and mentoring and connecting. So, 35 years I was in the healthcare technology business, sales, client relationships, that sort of thing. You can't let that stuff go. You bring it with you. So where can I mentor, bring some services, but also, my hand's raised, so I need some help here too. So I really see it as a relationship of win-win-win.
So one of the things that Bruce is going to be helping us do is, once you have joined NSA Georgia and maybe you're not on a committee yet, he's going to be connecting like that outreach that our marketing team does, and how do we, what committee would you like to serve on, or where would you like to serve? And it may not be a committee. It might be, I'd like to do something, maybe I don't want to sit on a committee all the time, but where can I serve? So same thing happened. Bruce called and said, how can I serve? And I said, well, what do you love? And he said mentoring. So to me, when we kept talking about it, then it's like, I like to find out where people's gifts are, like you just said, and then figure out where they might serve in our area. TM, who was on the stage here a couple of months ago, TM, the same thing last week. He goes, okay, Doc, I'm ready. What do I need to be doing? And so I said, well, we really need somebody that kind of helps me with run of show. So he's now serving between working with programs with Candace and me, and with Leslie's team with operations, because helping here to coordinate run of show, et cetera. So you tell us what you love to do. And remember, it doesn't have to be, so if you like to do events, but you don't want to do events in your volunteer job, then tell us you don't want to do events. Let's do something else. All right, but tell us, and that's what Bruce is going to be helping plug in. All right, anything else? Well, yes, actually got something else. So today we're talking about project management. We're talking about putting the pieces together, which is what he just talked about. And when I said, here's what Alana's talking about, what comes to mind for you if you were going to do one of your words for us? And he said...
Yeah, so there's I love the word commit, because it kind of gets you going, right? But what I found, at least in my life, is that I can commit... Like, we're going to eat well. We're going to change it all up. We're going to go whatever that diet, whatever that nutrition thing is going to be.
You meant healthy.
You and I. We're going to go healthy. Okay.
Because when you said well, that I had something else in my head, but now you mean healthy. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, and so we might say, awesome, Jeannie, and say, count on me making it there. That's one way to say commit. And we high five. Can we high five? Okay. Then we say, let's go get a cheeseburger. Right? We committed by saying, this is what we're going to do. But if we switch that and say, how do we go about that? That's where we put it into action. So what do? We come with a positive possibility mindset. That's the C. The O is we got to own how we use our time. Right? We can't expect to, say, fitness-wise, and do the complete Netflix binge. We got to take 30 minutes and go do that walk. So we have to own how we use our time. We have to make and keep promises to ourselves. How many times would you say you would want to be late to picking up your kid at school or someone, 3:45, going to have a lunch packed, going to take you to soccer practice? You'll never miss that. But that promise to ourselves that says, I'll read those 10 pages, right? Or that I'll show up for that event, we can also often let those slide away. So we have to make and keep promises to ourselves. The other is we need to make service part of the commitment. So what does that mean? Well, let's say we are going to do a fitness plan. Take an empty trash bag with you. Pick up a can, pick up a bag, pick up something that's trash on the way. You're providing service. Simple example, serving others makes it easier to live up to that commitment. Then we have to insist that our goals are in line with our actions. That doesn't work otherwise. And then the last thing is we realize the blessing. Or as I say, then we realize the outcome.
Oh, did y'all get that? He's the word guy.
There's two ways to look at commit. So I would say count on me making it there and, get in where you fit in and then put the plan in action.
So Bruce Pulver is our committee guy. Get it? He's going to help you figure out what committees you're on. I want to thank you, Bruce, for being with us. Tell us about your podcast, though.
Yeah, so
hold the mic.
Microphone.
Yep,
so,
there we go.
Gosh, you guest. I've been fortunate to guest on a bunch. And it was like, I can't push that button, go live of hosting. I just love being interviewed and being out. But we started a podcast with a lady that named Heather Carter. We've never met. And it's called Can I Have a Word With You? And we sit down and we unpack a word this way. Just what's the word that we want to talk about today? So it might be perseverance or it might be resilience. We talk about what it means, both sides of it. We talk maybe about the word bound. So bound can mean constricted. I can't get anywhere. I'm stuck. Or bound can be bound and determined. And I stuck with it. Two different ways to look at the same word. And then we write the acrostic vertically. And it is a faith-based podcast, so we also try to align a scripture with it. And what does that mean? And it's a conversation. It's not right or wrong. I've got it figured out. It's about the minutia of a given word. So we've had fun with that. We've done two seasons, 60 or so episodes. Yeah, it's called Can I Have a Word With You? Yeah.
Let's give Bruce Pulver a hand. He's one of our NSA Georgia members. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. It reminds me, Bruce, the first time I heard you, we had been talking back and forth. We'd met on Clubhouse, and then we'd been talking back and forth, and then he had said, wait, what's this NSA Georgia thing? I found out he was in Atlanta, and I said, why are you not in NSA Georgia? I see it on his little Clubhouse thing. And so I think it was somewhere bouncing back between some other room and TM's Faith Talk room at 6 a.m. on Sundays, if anybody is like really up that early. But you talked about that word bound. And I remember thinking I'd always thought of bound as bound, but then my mother always said bound and determined. But you're not bound and determined. You're like bound and determined, right, to do that. So here for Bruce Pulver. All righty. Whoops. So when we're thinking about project management, when we're thinking about problems and solutions, what solutions do we bring? What do we bring as NSA Georgia? What do we bring to people? But also, what do we bring? I want you to think about you being your own business right now. What do you bring? When Alana talks to us today, she's going to be talking about project management. Okay, not the sexiest topic, right? But why do you need to manage projects? Why do you need to bring solutions to your customers? How many of you in the I'm going to just give you a real defined thing, last 4.5 weeks have had some challenge with some solution that a customer didn't maybe get or understand? Or why are you asking those questions of my people? Okay? This is not like once in 1,000 years, right? This happens all the time. We have to be committed all the time, the word that we just used. We have to be thinking about how we find the solutions, and we might have to find them again and again and again. I've got a client I've been working with for over 25 years. And they did one of those things like, well, wait, why are you asking those questions? Why are you getting why are those hard questions coming out? So we have to continue to figure out what is that solution and how do we stay true to what we're bringing to the customer, but also make sure that we are putting those things into the project that they need. So I want us to think about serving as, how are we serving our customers? So now I got a lot of stories about being a waitress. That's not what I'm talking about today. But a lot of what I learned about speaking and serving customers, I learned at Western Sizzlin wearing a bad polyester skirt. But we're going to talk about that another time. But if we say at your service, if we say to our customers, we're at your service, if we say to our colleagues, we're at your service, what does that mean? I had a time about a few weeks ago, and it was one of those where it had been pushing. We had a lot going on. I think it was not too long after maybe Showcase. We had a lot going on at work. And it was one of those days where I finally had to decide, I've got to stop. I'm not going to go to one more event tonight. I'm not going to do something else. Husband's out of town. Dog looks at me like, are we staying in tonight? Not staying in tonight. I was literally standing in the hallway of our house. I'd been gone for 2 weeks. I'm standing there with my phone, and I made a reservation. I called and said, I'm not going to come to this meeting, and I made a reservation. I had reservations about doing one more thing. And instead, I made a reservation for myself and took myself to dinner. To a nice dinner. A 4-course dinner with wine pairings. By myself. That's weird for some people. I love eating by myself sometimes. And, I miss social, but I love eating by myself. And I made that reservation because I knew I'd have to go slow. I knew I'd have to pay attention to what each course was, each part of that project, if you will. But I made the reservation. I get to the restaurant. They said, welcome. Because they know I'm usually with a crowd. Just one. And I'd like that table in the corner. Really? I made a reservation. They said, but your friends are here. And I said, I don't want my friends to be here right now. I don't want to be with anybody else. I want to be by myself. And they said, well, they're in the restaurant next over, but we just figured you knew they were coming. And they said, oh, what are you doing here? Oh, blah, blah, blah. I mean, my brother happens to own both restaurants. And so they know I'm like, that's why I'm here. But they said, pull up a chair. And over here they'd said, oh, it's okay. You can cancel your reservation. Now, what other fine dining? You got to know the brother, right? To be able to do that. You can cancel your reservation. And they said, and I had reservations about pulling up a chair. That was not my intention. My intention was to reserve time for myself to do some thinking. And I actually, Bruce, you'll be proud, took a notebook with me. I was going to write. I wasn't going to be on my phone. First of all, that'd be tacky in a high-end restaurant, right? But I took a little notebook to take down some notes. They kept talking me into pulling up a chair. And I said, I have a reservation. I didn't say it was for one. I didn't say I don't want to talk to you people. I didn't say any of that. I just said, I have a reservation. I thanked them. I had a nice visit, and I went and had my dinner for one. One of the best nights. While I'm writing, well, thank you. I didn't expect that. But while I'm writing, I'm doing just some brain dump, stream of consciousness kind of writing in a little tiny notebook. And when I wrote reservation, what I saw was reserve. If we don't reserve ourselves, we can't reserve our clients the 15th time that they ask you to reinvent something, the 15th time they ask you to come up with yet a higher level solution. If we are providing value, then we are providing higher level solutions and higher level solutions. When you come to this event today, I mean, you're pretty impressed, right? This is good, huh? It's good. Alana's here, all this stuff. Are you going to expect something less next time? You know, customer service, right? You're not going to expect less. You're going to expect. And you're going to expect not necessarily bigger or a different room or anything. You're just going to expect to make sure we're at least doing what we're doing. That's what Alana's going to talk about today, somewhat. I'm not telling you what she's going to talk about. But I want you to think about reserving time for yourself, for your business, for focusing on that, and reserving both yourself and others. And that is why we show up. One of the things you're going to be able to move into is in April, we are going to have Mark LeBlanc, CSP, and may I add, CPAE finally. And Mark, if you do not know Mark, he is the business guy. He talks about your business when you are the business. And he is not only going to be doing our main stage, be our keynote speaker on April the 6th, Saturday, April 6th. We've actually moved that date to extend the day here at Rich Hart Studios. And in the afternoon, there's going to be a workshop. Maybe not a word shop, but a workshop. And as we call our NSA Georgia workshops, workshops. You're going to come and do some work. He asked us, when Pam was just saying that these speakers come and they don't charge us we can't afford these speakers. You know that, right? We can't afford ourselves, right? But we can't afford these speakers. So Mark is coming, and he said, well, Jeannie, could I also do a workshop? I'm sorry, what? You want to also do a workshop? You're coming for free to be our main stage, and you want to do a workshop. He said, I do, for your members. I said, can we sell it to others? He goes, yes, but it's going to be free for the members. Now, isn't this funny how March 23rd, what happens at midnight? Okay, but if you join before midnight, March 23rd, you get the same price. And what's included? This $247 ticket that we're going to charge others. All right? You get to come free. It's part of it. Now, when I say free, you're going to still work, right? But so it's going to be a really good day on April 6th. It's some of the things in the mastermind. And again, Cricket, stand up for just a second and tell us what happened in that mastermind yesterday. What were some of the things that you observed? Cricket was the leader and facilitator of that mastermind, but what did you observe? Here's the mic.
Oh, that's a tough question. We had 13 people show up at some point in the room, and what I observed was everybody knows something. Not everybody knows everything. Everybody has something to share and to learn from. And I don't know, what did I observe?
Well,
it's different when you're running the meeting versus she's listening and hearing.
Well, I'm listening while driving in a rainstorm, having a flat tire on 85. Yes, but what I heard was, first of all, as she facilitates, all of us bring value. That's what our member mastermind is. It's for members only, in case you need to join by March 23rd. So it's for members only, but we all bring a little bit. But what Cricket pulled out of us yesterday was she starts off every time, or whoever is facilitating it. Cricket does it primarily, has been doing it for years for our member mastermind. 6, you said?
6 years.
Yep,
Yeah.
6 years. But she's saying, what's your problem? What's your problem? Not what's your problem. Sorry, what's your problem? What is it that's bugging you about your business? What's bugging you about your business? And everybody threw out something completely different. And by the end of that hour and a half, it had all merged together to say, okay, yes, we looked at Michael's slides that he wanted feedback on, and people don't hold back, so don't come if you got thin skin, right? But they're going to tell you what they think because we're getting better. We're helping each other get better. Somebody wanted to talk about email lists. Somebody wanted to talk about different things. And we just have that conversation. What does it have to do with you? So Cricket is also the chair of Power Women of National Speakers Association. It's our national organization. But you have masterminds with that too. Why do we have a mastermind in NSA Georgia? Why is it such an important part of our programming? And what do you think people walked away with?
Well, at the end of every meeting, I ask people, what's the one thing you're taking away? Because our goal is that you not be a silo, you not be alone, and you're never stuck. So on that note, if you're not in the Facebook group, make sure you're in the Facebook group as well. Ask those questions. There's a wealth of knowledge in this room, and it's not always about speaking. Sometimes it's about business development. Sometimes it's about taxes. It can be about anything.
Really sexy topic.
Sometimes it's about how did you deal with your kids when you were on the road, or how did you deal with your spouse when you were gone all the time, or how are you handling flights? Like, it's anything about the business, but our goal is you not to be alone, to have information and support that helps you move forward, because we're all our own businesses, right? But we believe that in supporting and helping each other, we all grow. One of the things I said yesterday very clearly is this is a business association. It's not a get the gig association. But the more involved you are and the more you share and the more people know you, the referrals start to come because they see you're committed to growing your business. They see you doing the work. They see you show up. Many people come up to me and they're like, oh, I'm so-and-so. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're much bigger than that 1-inch square. Because we used to meet here, but we do it on Zoom so that other people can come now. But for 2 years or whatever, I was only seeing these little 1-inch squares. But it's really, our goal is the business of speaking and sharing the wealth of knowledge that's in this room.
Thank you so much. Let's hear it for Cricket and the Mastermind. So every first Friday, member Mastermind, 10 to 11:30, it is worth the investment. And when you're talking about people sharing their things, Candace, because everybody's Candace, right? And Candace, the real Candace, put a post out this week talking about taking her daughter with her to a speaking engagement. We call it the Zuri Factor. So we're all dealing with all kinds of things. we're building our businesses. Mark LeBlanc's going to be here next month to help build on what Alana Hill's going to tell us today and build and help grow our businesses. So sign up for that. I want to introduce someone new to you. And actually, give me 1 second because I want him to finish out right before the break. So there are a couple of things that are coming up. First Friday is what? Member Mastermind. First Saturday, or sometimes Thursdays, is what? Okay. What happens on March 13th, which is March 14th, second Thursday of the month, is what? New member orientation. This month, it's going to be along with Siobhan is going to be doing a cameo appearance there, and I'll be with you too. So sign up for that new member orientation. It helps you get involved right away. And then, Derek, can you grab that mic and tell us, and it matches your outfit. I love it. What is happening on, you tell me the date. Can we have the red mic, please? Oh, maybe it's not on. March 21st, right?
On March the 21st, that's a Thursday from 6 to 7:30, we will be at Firebird Wood Fired Grill. That's in
That was hard to
Peachtree
say.
Corners. It is hard to say, but I'll say it again. Firebirds Wood Fired Grill.
Anyway, it's going to be on there. You can
Peachtree
register. You don't
Corners.
have to be able to say the name.
Right. This is our social event that we do once a month. They've gone very well. We go around the city. We were down at the Porsche Airport down last month. This month we're going to be in Peachtree Corners. So if you're on the north side or not, make your way out there from 6 to 7:30. We would love to have you.
Thank you. And it's worth the drive no matter what. June Klein came from, where do you live? Kennesaw all the way to the Kempton Overland Hotel. So everybody is welcome. And this is the time where you really get to join in and meet some of our members. All righty. So that is on what date? I'm sorry? And what happens on, well, we know you know. What date is the Culture Club? March 21st. And then what? Pardon? So TM, this must be our party because it's the day between yours and my birthdays. Okay, got it. So what happens on March 23rd at midnight? That's right. And what are you going to register for April? Mark LeBlanc. Okay, all those things will be live on the website by Monday morning, all righty? Okay, I now want to introduce another new-ish member of our group. Now, he started coming. He got hooked in. Tom, I'm going to invite Tom Wilner to the stage, but he got hooked in because he came to a member mastermind before we made it member mastermind. So like a year ago. And then when he joined this year, earlier in the fall, when did you join? December. You can come on up. So December. When he joined in December, he said, okay, how do I jump in? What can I do? All right, I'd like you to welcome Tom Wilner to the stage. All right. And I almost did we've had a fashion emergency, and now we're about to have a chair emergency. 1 moment. Okay. Chairs are tall for this girl. Okay. All right. So Tom just joined NSA Georgia in December, but he's been hanging out with us a little bit. And Tom is, if I put a title on him, I think he's the Renaissance guy. All right. Because he does IT by day. He is also a musician. He is also a dad. He also has done a TEDx talk, which I forgot to mention. Bruce Pulver's done a TEDx talk as well. And so Tom is also telling us a little bit about himself today. And we'll start with the same question. Why'd you join NSA Georgia?
Well, I love what Bruce said, actually. It's very similar. For the longest time, I have enjoyed being up on stage. Right, I'm a musician.
Not reluctant.
Not reluctant. No. And I think it happened actually when my dad made me. I think I was about 8 or 9 years old. I was going to play the organ, so I was a really cool kid. I was playing the organ for a. It was a assisted living facility, and I was playing for this, and my dad said, you have to talk. You got to introduce every song. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that at all. I just want to go up there and not even face the audience. And he said, just do it. They'll love you. Trust me. They all have grandkids your age. Whatever comes out of your mouth is going to be great. Long story short, it was. I said stupid things that an 8-year-old kid would say, and they ate it up. It was wonderful.
You get by with a lot at 8.
That's right. So, I kind of got the bug pretty early on. But anyway, fast forward, as a musician, I got cancer a number of years back. And while I was going through it, I wrote music about the experience. Very cathartic. It ended up becoming a musical. And I started to use my story and my music to teach about the patient experience and the lessons I learned from, a life-threatening illness. And for about the last 5 years or so, I've done quite a few speaking engagements and continuing education classes for healthcare workers. And then I decided I'd really like to take this up a notch. And so I had heard about NSA Georgia from someone a long time ago, that if you want to start a speaking business, that's where you need to be. And so I saw the orientation coming up in December, and I think I joined the night before.
Yes, he did.
Because I want to be on.
He did. And I remembered that little square you were talking about. I remembered when he'd been on that mastermind a year before, because he made the mistake of saying, well, yeah, I do IT and graphics. I'm like, I'll be calling you. But we had to wait for him to join. So anyway, so that is near and dear to my heart. So tell us a little bit about, so you speak about your TEDx had to do with your cancer experience in addition to other things. Tell us a little bit about that and then what you speak on now.
Right. Well, so in my day job, my technology career, I am currently at Georgia State University, and I do data for student success initiatives, right? So I want to help students complete their degrees and get a better life, because I'm a first-generation American, and I am the only person in my family to get a college degree, and now two. And so, and it's changed my life. And so I love doing that to help people move forward. And now
Where's your family from?
Hungary, actually. Oh, wow. Yeah, both came over. My parents came over, but they met here. So anyway, now that I've explained all that background, I've forgotten the question that you asked me.
Well, it was just tell us about what you do, so you can kind of do it anywhere you want. But I love to work with folks where their different parts of their genius intersect, right? The guy's a musician in IT and speaks and all those things. So tell us, what do you bring then to our table here at NSA Georgia, and how can we support you?
Well, so what I bring, I try with any skill that I might have or anything that I can offer. I always want to help, right? So that's why I do what I do at Georgia State. When you were saying to me, technology and graphics, really?
Oh yeah, my stalker antenna went up really high the minute he said that.
And I said, I would love to help. What do you need? And then with speaking, this is an amazing community. Scott, where are you? I was talking with you earlier today. This is our tribe. This is amazing. So I am so grateful to be here, and I come in person as often as I possibly can, because I love to see all of you, and I learn something. I think I said every 5 minutes, and somebody said, "Is that all?" It literally, it's amazing to connect with all of you, and so any way that I can help. I think Shantae, who was one of the folks,
Hooks.
yes, who was
one of the Magnificent Seven.
Oh, and that was amazing, that showcase. I signed up. I'm in the next cohort. Yeah,
he was going to watch that on Zoom, and I'm like, okay, I know you're an IT guy, but you better be in the house.
I work remotely a lot, so Zoom is my jam.
I'm so glad I was here.
Yeah. So anyway, so I actually connected her with my HR person at Georgia State, so I'm hoping something comes out of that. So
Excellent.
Anything that I can do, that's what I'm here for.
And that's it's interesting. You were talking to Shantae. I was talking with her yesterday. She's trying to put in a contract. Those are the conversations that matter. And she was saying, well, I only charge. She didn't say I only. She said I charge X, and I'm like, you'll be charging more for that when you put this in next week. So I think, these conversations are going on behind the scenes, and that's, again, what NSA Georgia is. So I want to tell you a little bit about Tom is an IT guy. Tom is an entertainer, and Tom is, as of Thursday night, he is now joining our board as our new director of technology. May I say, Pam and I are really excited. So he is going to join our board, and he is coming in the middle of the year. He'll be staying on with Candace, and I are thrilled. And so it's going to allow us to look at perhaps a new system and a new website. And Pam and I are about to come through the roof. So he's going to be helping us with that project. He knew he was going to help with that project before he said yes, so that's good. We're not blindsiding him with that. But so he is now going to be serving on our board. So welcome, Tom, Director of
you.
Technology.
Great to be
welcome, TM, who's going to be working with technology and with operations, connecting the dots. So it's a constant thing. We're always looking to see where we can add the talent. And speaking of talent, I'm going to go back to this slide. So Tom is now going to finish out the first part. I'm going to go ahead and tell you because we're going to finish with his song. You're going to have a 10-minute break right after he sings for us. And this is one you have composed. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And so we've been talking about project management. We've been talking about commit and what we're going to do next. We've been talking about growing our businesses, re-serving. And he's going to sing about now. The time is now. You're going to be back in 10 minutes after he finishes, right? Because you do not want to miss a minute of Alana Hill. And she's going to be telling us why doing what she's going to teach us for customer solutions, the time is now. All righty. Tom, you have the floor. I think you have a separate mic. Okay. Let's hear it for Tom Wilner. Oh, wait, Tom, one more thing.
Yes.
Tell us about your show. You got a show coming up.
Yes, April 12th. So, as a musician, I'm still doing concerts and love doing it. And I get to sing with this amazing gospel choir from Georgia State. Actually, it's my music. I'm doing a show, full band, and there's going to be an amazing gospel choir from student-run Georgia State group behind me. And it's going to be April 12th, Friday, 7:30. So, if you look up that name, you'll probably find something about it. So, would love to see you there. That'd be great.
As soon as Tom finishes, you're breaking for 10 minutes. See you back in a few.
The summer of 99 was my answer to a question. What was the best time I have known? Lunch in Austin, dinner in Boston, oceanfront views, no, I couldn't lose. Life came to me so easily back then. But glory is fleeting, priority seating only lasts so long. She saw where I was going, all the while knowing exactly where I went wrong. She said, there's no time like now. No time like right now. There's no time like now. No time like right now. Times are tough. There's always more month at the end of the Monday. Leave home at 7, got back till 11's just too damn hard. One day people will see what was meant for me and what I should be. And when that day comes, I'll be so high again. But glory is fleeting, priority seating only lasts so long. She saw where I was going, all the while knowing exactly where I went wrong. You know there's no time like now. No time like right now. No, no time like now. There's no time like right now. I always seem to believe is right now. No time like now. No time like right now. There's no time like now. No time like right now. No time like now was the best time I have known. Time like right now. Wise woman once told me, she told me, no time like now. Only thing I could ever hope to have is right now.
Thank you, Jeannie Snyder. Give it up to him. There you go.
Did y'all see that? Did y'all see her strapped in? She's about to deliver. Did y'all get the DoorDash thing? Like deliver? Okay, got it. All right. Thank you. I was trying to make the customer service work with the strapped in, all that stuff. Alana Hill is about to deliver. Are you ready? Are you ready to find out how you can increase, elevate, think more broadly about your customer solutions? And yet she's going to give you the technical, tactical side on how to do the non-sexy project management side. It's very cool for somebody who's in our world to also know what's backstage of our world. I want to introduce to you Alana Hill. It rhymes with banana. So everyone say Alana, banana. Excellent. With over 2 decades of experience, including, isn't it weird when we start to get to decades? Where is she? Yeah, when we get to decades. 2 decades, including 11 years with a multinational oil field technology company. Raise your hand if you've been with a multinational oil field technology company. Thank you, Tom. You actually have? Of course you have. Right. Yeah, he can sing, he can dance, and he can do oil. Okay. And IT. That's, project management is sexy. That's our new mantra for NSA Georgia. Okay. She has led a colorful career, demonstrating how professionals can lead change in themselves and others to create inclusive, resilient, and competitive organizations. Now, she's got this in her bio, her intro. I'm reading it because that's what we do for good, do well for speakers, do goods for speakers. But those words, inclusive, resilient, and competitive, she actually is going to help us do that today. She lives that. She is the author of What's Your Catalyst? The book that is the tagline, The Power of Managed Change, where she guides her readers to have greater influence and impact on the world around them. You're about to get that today. Alana is a keynote speaker, facilitator, executive coach, helping leaders balance their EQ and their IQ for greater results and fulfillment. She's a past president, as we've already talked about, of NSA Houston chapter, leadership committee, and she's on our chapter leadership committee for our national group and mentoring other chapter presidents. Alana is joining us today from Houston, Texas, and is here to demonstrate an NSA core value of, we have many core values, but she's going to talk about elevating excellence with this keynote. Be your client's solution. Grow your business by delivering, get it, excellent results. Please Please help me welcome to the NSA Georgia stage, Alana Hill. Here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. They tell us in the Speaker Academy, you probably learn, don't come out and thank people, But I want to thank you guys. I mean, I'm a Southern gal, and I got some great Southern hospitality since I've been here. I had some Georgia fried chicken last night, which ain't quite Texas fried chicken, I'm just going to say. But I'm grateful. I am grateful. And I am grateful for the abundant generosity that I've seen displayed from all of you who are serving your chapter, who are serving other speakers, who are serving your community. Because that's what NSA is all about. That is our first and foremost value, abundant generosity. But we have another really, really important value that we talk about and that I want to kind of exude on you, and that is elevating excellence. Where are my recovering perfectionists in the room? Repeat after me. Excellence is not perfection.
Excellence is not perfection.
Excellence is not perfection.
Excellence is not perfection.
I hope I set somebody free. Because that becomes a problem and a challenge, and we want to balance, of course, grace and accountability. But in order for us to grow our businesses, in order for us to elevate our brands, in order for us to do what we have been called to do, we have to operate in excellence. Now, let me get something really quickly out of the way. Alana Banana. First of all, so in this picture, in this 1980s picture, my little 1980s hair, so that's my best friend, Nikki. So, Nikki and I, we ran track together, and so Nikki and everybody in my school called me Elena. And this was during, LL Cool J and some of the other cool things, so sometimes I was Lena B. Lena. My family still calls me Elena. I'm Auntie Lena, Cousin Lena. Elena. But when I grew up, I decided, you know what? I think I really want to honor my mother's Caribbean heritage and go by the pronunciation that she had designed for me that nobody could get before. So that's why Elena came about. And I said, you know what? No, I'm Alana. So I continued, and I feel like I honor her every time I do that. So if you were sitting there struggling, looking at the spelling of my name, going, that's not what it's Alana. But if you stick around long enough, you might see Elena. Okay? And because I do DEI work, I love that because I do get to kind of code switch just right there in the moment. We all do. So not only was this an illustration of my name and the background of my name, but I'm a firm believer that iron sharpens iron, and I knew this even in high school. I mean, we all know that we are the culmination of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. Well, in high school, in my underserved inner city high school, in an area nicknamed Guns Point, Nikki and I decided that we were going to stand out and we were going to shine together. See, we were 2 nerds from the hood that were just going to make it out of the hood and just do things differently. We were both excellent in math, and we helped push each other to do better. It was never a competition. It was always very much like we see in NSA. It was very much, how can I support you? We studied together. We dodged bullets together. We ran for the bus together. We did life together. And right before graduation, right, that's what prom is all about. I mean, y'all, come on, give it up for that sequence. Y'all, I designed that dress. Now, I never put that on my list of skills or gifts, but I actually sat down and sketched that dress out. But you know what? Somebody broke in my house and stole it. That's a whole nother story. Anyway, we had decided, was that? It was that good. It was that good. It was that good. I was like, somebody stole my prom dress? Who does that? But our unity really helped early on identify how important it is to be with like-minded individuals, even when everybody else around you might be doing or thinking something different. And as a result, she helped me as we support each other fill out our college scholarships. And I left and I got a scholarship to Texas A&M University. Can I get a whoop here in Georgia? All right. And she went on and she got a scholarship and she did great things in math. She majored in math. And so we still stay connected. God, thank God for Facebook. But when I think about our journey and how it started with our big hair in the 80s, Anybody else? I wasn't quite an Aquanet girl. That becomes a black hair thing where you understand. But we understood bigger is better, especially in Texas. Go big or go home, okay? So that was kind of the start of what became an illustrious and colorful career. Because many of us, if you think about it, adulthood starts at 18. We know it doesn't for our kids. I'm still working on them on that. But we were adults at 18. That's when we could fight for our country. That's when we could vote. That's when we were adulting. I packed up my stuff. I moved out of my dad's house. I dodged some things. I ran. I got to College Station. I majored in engineering. And then right after that, as I continued to sharpen my iron, I then learned to drive an 18-wheeler, which you heard in my intro. And learning to drive an 18-wheeler, I was like, I didn't go to college and get an engineering degree for this. What are we doing? And my manager explained to me that, you know what, to lead people, you have to understand what they do. So I shut up, I got behind the wheel, and I learned to grind some gears. Oh yeah, it is a skill that I could put in my skill basket that I can really only use in case that the only getaway vehicle is an 18-wheeler. Other than that, it's kind of a useless skill, but I'm proud to know that I was one of the best trailer backers in all of Texas. Not something that I expected to happen because you have to think backwards. Anybody else in here could back a trailer? You have to think backwards, and I didn't know I had the ability to think backwards. But some other things that I learned, especially in college, I knew that I had to learn how to learn. I realized my freshman year that it took me 5 hours to someone else's 1 hour to read a chapter. Pretty discouraging. Pretty discouraging. I never once thought about quitting, but getting through was a struggle. Every day was a struggle. And not only was I struggling academically, I was struggling socially. I was also struggling with the fact that at the time, my beloved, now alma mater, my beloved university had boasts an African-American enrollment of less than 1% of the student body. Less than 1%. And these weren't, the 99% weren't happy to see me. So that was daily. So as I evolved my work in DEI, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. So I went from driving an 18-wheeler in South Texas, which, I'm around brown people. I worked on my Spanish, y'all. My Spanish got good. Hablo poquito español, necesito practicar. Because I had to know people were talking about me. But I also needed to know if there was a safety thing, because I told y'all, Nikki and I ran track, and if there was a safety concern, your girl was gone. We had muster, we had all sorts of quality standards and safety standards, but if there was an incident, they had to find, I'm like, what took y'all so long? Y'all didn't hear that noise? And I was like, sorry, hood training. You hear noise, you shoot, right? You're gone. I don't need a run coordinator, I'm gone. So that's what I did in the field. But I was there not just to drive an 18-wheeler, I was there to mix chemicals. I was the nerd on location. I loved it. The geek on location. I not only mixed chemicals, but I also had to make sure that all the computer equipment worked. And this was in the early 90s, y'all. Yeah, don't let it fool you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, told y'all about that early 80, 90 hair. And so computers then were big and heavy, and so we had to make sure that all the computers and the sensors and all of that, because to get oil and gas, we know it takes lots of technology. So being head of technology on location was exciting, and it was something that happened from day one. I graduated college on Friday, and Monday I was a supervisor. I was trying to tell people what to do, and I'm like, I guess do it. Show me how to do it and then do it. So that's what was happening. And that happened for 2.5 years. And as I continued to do things with technology on location, people began to recognize me. And then I began to move into project management. And I moved and I worked and I worked and I worked. And I got my beloved project management professional certification. I was so proud of that. It was the culmination of all my geekness in one certificate, in one test. Now, I told you all how much I struggled academically in college. I made a 1.5 my first semester. Let me say that again and fix your face. 1.5. I feel so judged. But I didn't quit. I hung in there. As a result, I lost the scholarship that got me there. But through perseverance, I not only graduated, but my last 60 hours were some of the most amazing academically, and I was able to then learn more about how I learned. So I applied that when I took my PMP exam, and I aced that exam. I was so proud. I didn't just have a PMP, I aced the PMP. Whew. Do you know how many people fail that exam? I was very, very proud of that. And I was so proud of that, and I was looking around, I was looking to my left, and I was looking to my right, and I was like, I don't think this company values me. I don't feel valued. For a variety of reasons. One could start with how I got jacked up on location in South Texas, but we won't go there. I didn't feel valued. I could keep just hanging in there, or I could take control and I could do something else. And so that's what I did. So as I was sharpening my own iron to be here with you today, I then moved in my career and went to a wonderful audit position. On my way out, I began thinking of my exit strategy. And part of my exit strategy was, let me continue to get as much global exposure as I can. Up until this point, by the time I even took my exam, I had traveled all over the world. And I love to say this girl from Greenspoint Mall got to hang out in Dubai Mall. I got to go to some of the most amazing places because the company sent me. And it ultimately culminated into me being able to go and give a quality audit. I mean, as project managers, getting things right is kind of what we do. And holding people accountable to getting things right is kind of what we do. But this trip was different. This trip, not only was I, yes, there to tell them what they needed to do right, I was immediately moved because I arrived in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, and saw that they didn't even have the resources to do what I was asking them to do. So that trip, which ended up being my last trip with that company, completely shifted my mind, completely shifted my heart, and completely shifted my focus. It helped me recognize my purpose, and as I began to reflect on the undervalued feeling that I felt, it also empowered me to do something about it. While I was there, I sent an email describing the conditions that I'd seen and how horrible it was to see people, especially children with faces that looked like mine, that were drinking dirty water. It broke my heart. I couldn't just sit there and not do anything about it. I sent back an email and I said, with a heavy heart, this is what's happening. And I received an email back, and because I said there's nothing I can do, and I get an email back that says, or is there? And that or is there is what I always put into everything that I do. It is that ability, it is that inner direction that says, I can do something about this. I can't fix everything in the world. As an engineer, I was convinced that I could, but I can't. But one thing that I can do, as I began to reflect on what my own strengths are, what my own gifts were, I use the term gifts all the time, but that G-I-F-T-S, ooh, that's going home with me. Thank you. Thank you for that. Is that I realized that as much as I was an engineer, but I was that engineer that kept talking in differential equations. People were like, why are you talking? Because I'm a verbal processor. Why are you not talking? Why are you sitting there quietly? So I began to recognize these gifts that I had to bring people together, to connect them, where StrengthsFinder says that woo. I had the woo. I had the ability to communicate and connect people and get them combined and get them connected around a common purpose. But first, I had to discover my own. So that trip became the catalyst for a life change. And I have a whole program about that. And for time's sake, I don't want to get too much into that, but I had to help you know who I am and why I'm here and why we're talking about project management and excellence. But I also want you to understand that all of that is driven by purpose. And effectively, my purpose is to sharpen other people's iron, because iron sharpens iron. And that teacher in me that started at 5 years old, sitting on the concrete steps of a little low-income apartment in Houston, Texas, trying to give people a pencil and say, come on, do your math better, do your math better. That inner teacher then came out. And when that inner teacher came out, Two Hill Consulting was born. And Two Hill Consulting was born on the notion of teaching, training, guiding, advising. But as I continue my journey of sharpening my own iron, on that trip in particular, I had to pause and reflect on what mattered most. And God is so good. And what mattered most was my 4 amazing, beautiful, beautiful young men. Now, see, in 2000, I looked at this handsome man and said, I do. I got a beautiful husband and 3 boys. Or beautiful boys and a husband. They're all beautiful. And then got into sense of humor, added one more boy to that because he says, obviously, you're a boy mom. Obviously. So, thus, my brood, my 4 boys. So I feel like good things come in 4s. We always say that tough things come in 3s. Well, good things come in 4s. And my good things came in 4. And that was also a shift for me in realizing how present I wanted to be for them, how many generational curses I wanted to break for them, how intentional I wanted to be in raising them to be future husbands. That was our mission statement in our house. How insistent I wanted to be that they knew, worshiped, and understood the God that they served and that created them. And all of that takes time. It takes time that you don't have in a 9-to-5, traveling around the world, doing all sorts of other things for a company that doesn't even value you. So I made the decision. And part of that decision allowed me not only to serve them better, but to serve my community better. Because even from that one email of, or is there, next thing I knew, I had sent another email and I said, okay, well, fine, I've reflected on this, and what I really want to do is collect some clothes and some goods for the people here in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. Can y'all help me? One email sitting in my very poorly connected room. I got home, began to communicate with a few other people, my living room filled with clothes. The power of leaning into that you can. Of just knowing that you can and encouraging other people that they can. And so as I did that, it began in me and it just woke up in me this ability to do even more service. I mean, in college, I was that girl that was just running down the street and saw the Special Olympics going on. And I was like, what's this? Oh, how can I serve? That was me all my life. And so as it just began to expand, it became more and more about servant leadership. And so that was really one of the premises for me not only starting my business, but also leaning into more foundations and nonprofit work. I'm really excited about the work that I've been able to do and the work that I will be doing. I'll tell y'all some more about that as we wrap up. But as I continued sharpening my iron, I had the opportunity now. Two Whole Consulting is born. And it exists. This is 2006. And I'm working diligently from my home. I was a virtual OG before, everybody talked about before the pan of working from home. I worked from home consistently. But as I did that for about 10 years, I just began to have something in my spirit that said, okay, I'm ready for next. And so I began serving using my gifts and talents with the project management community. And so I'd spoken at a few project management meetings, and this is a picture of me with the founder of PMI, Jim Snyder, and he literally just passed away 2 weeks ago. And I felt that I had to honor him in this time, and not only him founding this organization from his dining room table, but of his graciousness when I met him and when I talked to him, and he shared stories with me. And I felt like, we were peers. And I even did, when I was doing my session, I was like challenging him on some notions in the PMBOK. Nobody does that. The Project Management Body of Knowledge, they call that the Project Management Bible. I tell them that's blasphemy. We don't call other things Bibles. But that's what it is. And I was able to challenge that. So he was instrumental in also giving me more courage to present what I knew to others. And so that was a big part of growing my speaking business. And many of you, as you begin looking at your speaking business, it's always start where you're known. Start with what you know. Start with who knows you. Start with your expertise. You'll sit in a room full of speakers and you're like, oh, they speak on that. That's cool. No, speak on what you know. Lean into what you know. As Lois Kramer says, go deep in expertise. Go deep in what you know and deliver that and add value there. And that's what I did. And I thought, like we're saying, project management's not sexy. But here's the thing. There are really sexy elements to project management. Y'all don't believe me? Watch, let me show you. Okay, so Jim, Jim really helped me sharpen my iron. And what was also really instrumental about this picture is that it happened at a time when I was now beginning to really find my confidence in speaking. So I began to now sharpen other people's iron. I began to speak at more and more conferences, and I published my book, sharing some of those experiences. But more and more, it was really about what we do with our life's challenges. Because that picture of me with Jim actually was just a few months after I lost my oldest son to cancer. In 2010, just as we were about to celebrate 10 years as a beautiful blended family, we got the news that he had cancer. And he fought diligently a 3-year cancer battle, and we ultimately lost him in 2014. And in that, and all of that stirring, and all of those emotions, and all of the healing that took place, what was birthed out of that was my business ministry. My ministry of helping leaders be more compassionate, of balancing their EQ and their IQ, of understanding how to have a critical eye and a compassionate spirit. Because that's what was missing in the technical world from what I could see and from what research showed. So as I began to sharpen other people's iron, I joined the National Speakers Association, to get more and more confidence in what I was doing, tools, community, and the ability to do this. I mean, we don't just, how many of you met somebody and they're like, oh yeah, I really love speaking. Well, loving speaking doesn't make you a professional speaker. It makes you the life of the party. It makes you fun, right? Maybe, but that's not enough to have a speaking business. But because I'd had a consulting business for several years at this point now, I'm like, oh, I get business and I get managing engagements. Oh, so speaking is another kind of engagement. Oh, well, yeah. Not only do I want to join, but let me serve, let me help people, especially those with great creative ideas. Let me help them frame those. Let me add value. Let me serve in a way that I can. As I continue to sharpen other people's iron, I always start with the question, is it a project? When we think about if something is a project, the first thing we think about is a house. House is a project, right? How many of you have built a house before and had to deal with builders? Well, I can tell you one fun thing is when you're a project manager, you get to save a lot of money because I'm like, show me your project schedule, show me your Gantt chart, and then they get nervous and things happen on time. But we know that this is a project because we know that by its very nature, something new happened. We created something new. Well, according to the Project Management Institute, that is the definition of a project. It is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. A house. And for those of you that are sitting there thinking, okay, that's fine, Alana, we get a house is a project, but how does that work with what I do? I'm not building houses. I'm not making phones. I'm not putting technology together. No. But you are creating an outcome, a new result. And that new result is where we have to ask ourselves the question, how is this a project? And how is it a project? If we want to move our clients from point A to point B, that's a project. Because what we want are new outcomes, and we need to talk to our clients in terms of what are your desired outcomes? How can I help you arrive at those desired outcomes? Because those are also business language terms. What do you want to see at the end of this? What new thing do you want to have happen? If you speak on leadership, how many of you speak on leadership? What's a desired outcome of a leadership program? One of my leadership people. Better culture. Better culture. So by the end of this engagement, you want to see your team or your organization have better culture. How do you define better culture?
Positivity, high productivity.
Okay, so attributes. And you see where I'm going with this because better culture, we're here. But let's get that more specific. Let's get that a bit more tangible. Because everybody wants better culture, because what happens is we set ourselves up to fail when we talk to our clients like that, because we can't deliver better culture. We can't. I wish I could. No. But what I can do is we can deliver better measurable behaviors, and we can also look at how we measure this against the past. We can look at what things we've then put in place, what may be new tangible initiatives, what new programs that are going to happen to continue to sustain this. Because like Pam was saying earlier, we're not looking for gigs, we're looking for engagements. We are building businesses. Now, if we want to come in, because sometimes I'm not going to lie, I just want to come in and do it. I almost said hit it and quit it, but I just said it anyway. You know what I mean, right? You want to come in, do what you want to do, and get on out. Feels good. Felt good. Got your speakers high. Yeah. But what are we doing to help them move their needle long term? Because it's the long term that not only is where the money is, but it's also where the impact is. And I don't know about you, but I became a professional speaker to make an impact. And while there's some impact that I can make from the platform, from the stage, and get people motivated and inspired to do new great things, they're probably going to leave and maybe do one new thing. They may be encouraged to do one thing. What do y'all think in the Zoom room? What new things are they going to do after the kid is like, oh, she's calling on us? Yeah. What new things might somebody do after they hear a keynote? Nothing. I don't know if we have audio. Do we have audio? Candace, say hey.
Hey.
Okay, so we do have audio. I'll put it on the spot.
Audio.
Okay.
Anybody from the Zoom room, does anybody want to answer that question? What new thing might someone do after they hear a keynote?
What's that?
Gossie, you broke up a little bit. Can you say that one more time?
I say probably nothing but prepare to hear another keynote.
Prepare to hear another keynote. And I saw a hand right over here. Jeannie, you have the mic. We have a question right over here, or input right here. Oh, I'm sorry, I put her to work. I think she was doing something else. Oh, Candace says, looks like there's a chat in the comments.
What you want is duplication.
What you want is duplication.
You want duplication.
You want duplication. Duplication
That's
of the
the
keynote?
result.
Duplication of the keynote or duplication of...
The keynote, whatever you're motivating a person to do, or developing the business, but the idea was born with you or nurtured by you. That's what it is.
Yeah, so you want someone to either emulate something that you've demonstrated, or what we see a lot is that we've encouraged them to want to learn more, because self-education is still scientifically proven to be the best form of education. So when we're on the platform, we have the ability to encourage people to go deeper, but we also know that if we want people to really go farther, they can't go alone. So while we may encourage and inspire them, we also can position ourselves to go with them. Candace, I think you had something else in the chat?
Yeah, there's one. So asking questions. Keynotes can help us ponder new questions.
Yes.
And that's what Lisa says in the chat. And also do internal audits. So there's probably something that we're learning where we can now audit ourselves and see if we need to build up our skills in an area.
I love that. Yes, keynotes bring introspection. Some of the most valuable movements I think I've made have been a result of seeing an amazing keynote, but they took longer. So when we think about accelerating results for our clients and delivering outcomes, it's remembering that the keynote is the start to it. So we want to take them from point A to B, and even if the keynote is it, and maybe you do multiple keynotes because you have multiple touch points. So I'm not saying that keynotes aren't valuable. No, I love keynoting. I love the value that it brings, especially the multiplicity that a keynote brings, because you have the ability to impact 200, 500, 5,000 people in one sitting. But we know the human brain and the human psyche and adult learning and development in 1 hour is often awareness. So in the DEI space, when a client says, oh, we want you to do a 1 hour training, I have to stop myself from laughing. I can't train anybody to do anything in an hour. Now we can have an hour keynote. We can raise some awareness. but you won't see change behaviors. So it's very important that we help our clients understand that. But so, is it a project? And if we all agree that yes, it is a project, we agree it's a project? Yes. Then that means we need to manage it like a project. That means we want to manage every engagement like a project that starts and finishes. And we define that start and that finish, but we are looking at this as a temporary endeavor to create a unique result. They are going to have something that they didn't have before, and that becomes part of your unique selling proposition. That becomes part of your value add when you are talking to your clients. Do you still want what you have? And they go, no, because they called you because they have pain, right? Well, what is it that you want to have? And that's what we're going to talk about. And that's how I'm going to help guide you through that. But I can't just talk somebody through that. We want to be methodical. So we have to be strategic and adaptable. We have to be forward thinking and a strategic thinking in how we can help move our clients from point A to point B, while also adapting to the market, to the environment, to their internal changes. M&A in the middle of an engagement, anyone? They always think that's a fun, oh yeah, we just bought 3 companies. This is going to be a great opportunity, more opportunities for you. I'm like, no, you just introduced new chaos and you're probably going to lose sight of anything that's going on. And I'm aware, and soon you will be too. My job is always to be aware of things before my clients because that's why I get to call myself an expert. I used to struggle with that word. I'm like, oh, it feels so vain. But no, I'm an expert. And I know things that my clients don't know. And as far as I'm concerned, it is selfish if I don't tell somebody something that I know that is for their benefit. It is absolutely selfish. I literally have a Post-it note on my computer that reminds me of that. What I do is service to organizations, service to the world, because I don't want people sitting, having worked hard, having gotten their certifications, having done whatever they need to do, and feel devalued. I will never forget the purpose, the passion, and the priorities that drove me to do what I do. We always have to remain connected to our why, and when we do, that makes even some of the challenging clients that don't know that the 3 companies that they just purchased is new chaos, it gives you the ability to still serve them. Because we get to breathe. We get to still serve them. But that's because we are seeing things that they don't. We're digging into research that they're not. We are quoting statistics that they don't have, that they don't know. We're the value add. We are their solution. And we can't be their solution if we're not willing to first and foremost continue to sharpen our own iron, because iron gets dull after a while. To keep sharpening it and then making sure that we're passing that on to our clients. And as we're being strategic and adaptable, there's a framework, and your handouts have that framework, and your handouts also had a little space for your top 4. So if I've said anything that you want to hold on to, we're going to talk about what those top 4 are later. I hope we got the handout to you all in Zoom land. Did we? Awesome. Okay. So capture those top 4 because we're going to debrief on those. But the framework, it starts with a decision. Everything that we do in life starts with a decision. So the framework that I've been using for years is simple. Decide, devise, do, and review. Project management we have different steps and phases, and it can get complicated, but I demystified it years ago and began to use this model that I've trademarked. Make sure you trademark your IP. Oh, heck yeah. Write that down. That better be one of your top 4. Decide, devise, do, and review. It's simpler than what we have in the PMBOK. The PMBOK is great. It's great if we're building a house. It's great if we're doing organizational change of the whole system. But when we are moving a client from point A to point B, one of the things that we talk about in the project management world is always making sure that what we use, the methodologies that we use, are fit for purpose. You don't bring a gun to a knife fight. You don't use a scalpel when you really need an axe, and vice versa, right? You follow me on that? Decide, devise, do, and review. Let's take a look at the model and how we use it. Think of a client that you're working with. Everybody have that client in your head? Are they pretty? Are they handsome? Doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Start with decide. Everything starts with a decision. Now, as you're first engaging with a client, now this begins to mingle a bit into your sales process. But what you are doing in sales is you are trying to get a client to make a decision. You're getting them to choose you. Do y'all remember in recess when you're like, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me? I'm good at kicking the ball? Yeah. Well, you're doing a little bit of that, but you're saying, pick me because I've got expertise and I can help you. But more importantly, I have insight into what's happening in your organization, or if you're working with individuals, I have insight into the challenges that you may be having, and I believe that I can be a good fit. And here's the beauty of decide. You get to decide too. You decide if they are a right fit, if you two are a right fit. Because there's nothing like shaking hands with a client that you know is going to do you dirty. If you're having to chase them down to get, feedback on things, ooh, if they're giving you this trouble now, just wait. I call those my PITA clients, and I have a PITA fee. That's P-I-T-A. I'll let you see what that stands for. If I sense that, there are some different adjustments that I want to make. But ultimately, the decision that I may make is that we may not be a good fit. Because ultimately, I'm trying to get them to understand what's their catalyst. Why did they call me? Why are we reaching out? Why are we connecting? What's ailing you? And how long are you going to allow that to ail you? And what is happening as a result of this ailment? Because people can tell you about their symptoms, but they can't necessarily tell you, I have a cold, and by having a cold, that means that I can't go to work. We have to look at the results that they have in their current state. So you want to do a current state analysis. You don't have to get all analytical. I like to, but get a little in their business. And here's the fun thing about the decide part is my clients call it work therapy. They're like, oh, this feels like work therapy. They get to talk about the things that have been bothering them, that have been ailing them. And, this manager over here that he just doesn't know how to talk to people. And by the time we're done with this discovery call, they feel a little better. And they feel a little hopeful, as they should, that you can help. You can't fix everything, but that you can help. And that you can serve them and move them along. It's an amazing feeling for them, and it's an amazing feeling for you. You also want to make sure that you get them crystal clear on their goals, because if they are saying one thing and you're saying another, you guys, you're set up to fail. And they have a different set of expectations than you have. And then that comes back later. So how many of you, even before a keynote, right, you're having the conversation with the client and you're saying, okay, what is it, why do you want a keynote for this spot? Always ask that question. Oh, we want you to give energy to open things up, or we want you to give content. What is it that they want to see? If you're having a conversation about a workshop, one of the things I love to do are workshops because I get to flow and move around the room. What is it that you want? What is it that you want to see as a result of this workshop? What do you want to see within a week after? What do you want to see 30 days after? 60 days after? Let's envision this. And they get to have fun envisioning this perfect team, and then you talk them out of the euphoria. No. But it's going to be better. And sometimes better is just so helpful. So I love the privilege of talking people through better. Get them clear on that, and then find out what their priorities are. Like I said, if there's some new merger coming, let's find out how important is this diversity initiative going to be once you start merging with this other company whose culture I can see through LinkedIn. This is not y'all's culture. What's going to happen? If you're doing this digital transformation and now this other company is on something else, what's going to happen? Is that going to take priority? Is this new CEO that you just gotten? Is this still their priority? Are we clear on your priority? So the decide phase is very important that we lock arms in the right unison. This discovery phase, I can't underemphasize how important this is. And when I even do project management workshops, when we initiate a project, which is the project management terminology, that's when projects are set up for success or set up to fail. So in your engagement management, set that engagement up for success by not only asking the right, easy, ask the good, hard questions. Ask the questions that probably make them squirm a little bit. And then get confirmation that you are the right fit. And then, this is where it gets really fun. So we've done our due diligence. We've sent the contract. We said, okay, we have an idea of what we want. We have an initial definition of what we want to do. But now with your permission and with your money, because you don't do a whole lot of analysis unless they've got some skin in the game. Don't go giving a bunch of outlines and content and all these other things to window lookers, because they'll take your stuff, they'll use it internally, or it'll just sit on a desk, but you've wasted your time. So consider the opportunity cost of doing too much before you have a contract. So you get that contract, and now you want to help them move further. So I love to use a SWOT analysis. And where are my fellow geeks in the room? Because I know I was in good company early. We were talking about some geeks. Y'all know good SWOT analysis, right? But here's the thing for my non-geeks. One of the reasons that I've adopted this, I told you good things come in fours. It's nice and easy. SWOT. 4 letters. You ask yourself, what are the strengths that I could provide to this organization? What are the weaknesses that I may have with this? What are the opportunities that I see that may come either in the market, and what might be the threats? That becomes my initial risk assessment. And I want to use this because, and again, I'm using this as part of Decide. I'm using this to help confirm how much I need to include in this statement of work and what I want to do going into the keynote and beyond the keynote as I insist on being my client solutions. So understanding this early on, helping to validate the goals, because they already said, yes, this is what we want to do. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? I really want to keep asking. It helps support decisions. I use a SWOT analysis when I'm booking a flight. Please make sure you do that. That's how I even change some of my flights. I use a SWOT analysis when I want to buy a car, when I want to buy a phone, when I want to buy even those little gadgets that plug up and make your phone charge up. I do a quick SWOT analysis, just in my head, okay? Sometimes I pull out a piece of paper because I'm visual. But it helps you to identify risks. And the more we can understand the risks that may be involved, the more we can proactively manage those risks. One of the most important core competencies of a project manager, and I'm not making you all certified by the end of this, but I want you to have some project management fundamentals, and the first one of those is to evaluate, assess, and manage risk. That is what your clients are looking for. They're not going to do it for you. So you have to do that. So we manage that risk, and we're doing that now. We're taking that as an input into devise. Now we need to devise a plan. Now we need to make a plan. Okay, I said that I can help you with this. I said I can help you build culture. Give me another example. What kind of engagement you work on right here?
What kind of engagement?
What kind of engagements typically?
I'm a spiritual coach.
Spiritual coach. Oh, I love that. Tell me more about that.
I help people own their worth so they break the generational cycle of stress and struggle.
You got all excited when I said breaking generation curses, didn't you? Okay. Oh, a spiritual coach. Okay. So desired outcomes for you and your clients are that they have stronger spiritual connection, or?
Spiritual connection, self-worth, so they're not projecting their lack onto their families. They're thriving and they feel better communication, greater relationships, more passion, more purpose, and more connection to God.
Awesome. And what she just described are attributes, right? So each of these, how can I help you get more of this? How can I help you get more of this? How can I help you get more of this? What interventions do we need to help you get from where you are now to what we've just described? Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. We could have, do you want to repeat that because I think we missed it for the recording.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh. You're going to make me say that again. So my mission is to help people own their worth. So they feel connected on the inside. They break the generational cycle of lack, stress, and struggle for themselves and their families, so they thrive. I help them move into prosperity consciousness, so they open up and really feel God's presence and support and nurturing at all times.
Thank you.
See, they need to hear that.
They needed to hear that. They needed to hear that. Because the beauty of NSA, as well as the variety of models and gifts and talents that you see in one room. I mean, like, I have a thing on my arm, and I was going to ask later, is there a doctor or a dermatologist, somebody in the house? Because being in a room full of experts, you can almost always get any problem solved at an NSA meeting. Am I lying? And we're not shy about our expertise, are we? Because shy, closed mouths don't get what? Glad we all know that. Okay. So as we want to devise a plan. Now we really need to look at how are we going to get this done. So we've identified the goals and decide, right? But how are we going to get this done? Are we going to meet twice a week for coaching? Are we going to, I'm going to have you do this workbook or this assessment, and how much is that going to cost? What is it that we are going to do collectively? And the beauty of being your client's solution, even if you have a package, if you've decided I want to systematize this, always take a step back from that and ask, is this fit for purpose for this client? What adjustment, what customization, what adaptations do I want to make to this to make it unique and specific for this client so that they will get the results that they want? And that's where devising a plan becomes so engagement specific, and you have your checklist, you have what you provide. You're not going to go in there and add something that you don't do. But that's where Two Hill Consulting was really big on I got a guy. So I loved when you said that, because that was my mantra as a project manager. I hire people for their expertise. So when my client needs, we're doing an internal training and they need graphics, got a guy, hold on. And that was before Fiverr. Now it's easier. But before I had to go to the car. I had to go to Starbucks and look at people that were doing, no, that's not how you find people. That's not a good idea. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, scratch that. But you're trying to figure out, you're planning proactively how you're going to get this done in the face of the risks that you've mentioned, because it is easy to do something in a simple context. And I'm going to keep using that example, and I'm going to use a couple more. But if we say that we're going to set up this coaching schedule, what might be risks to a coaching schedule? Anybody? Right here.
Schedule.
Whose schedule? Their schedule, yes. But even with a busy schedule, if they have, come on.
Hold on, who's got the mics?
Oh, it's over there. I'm moving around too fast for you. I'm sorry. I'm slow down.
If you'll take that side.
But I want, Tim. Tim. He's taking good notes.
I was going to say a job, a family, just life, emergencies that come up.
Yes, that. But if they have commitment, they are still going to do it. So part of your coaching agreement needs to be, hey, we need to be committed. I have that written in mind. And yes, we have flexibility, but if we don't set that up front, everything will be a reason to reschedule. And now that grace has just flown. And like I said, grace and accountability are not mutually exclusive. We use them together, but we create shared commitment in how we're going to treat one another. That is a very important part of our planning, because it's going to be very different based on the engagement. How many of you have a fixed price for everything that you do? Oh, good. I'm glad you don't, because I was going to send you home. Because please don't do that, because here's the reason. Depending on what you're providing, my favorite question when a client asks me, well, how much is it going to cost? Well, it depends. It should always depend. Yes, we have a standard price for this, but even for a keynote, am I doing some stakeholder interviews? Do you have stakeholders available for me to talk to so I can weave in some stories and some challenges and some strategies? That's going to be this price of a keynote. But let's see. Let's talk about how we might need to do this differently. That might alter things and therefore alter the price. So we want to ask ourselves, how much is it going to cost? And how long is it going to take? How much time do I have in my calendar? How much time do I have available for this client? And how long is it going to take in terms of us delivering? Let me sit on that. How long will it take on my side for a moment? Because my motivation for creating this program, which I delivered it for the very first time in an entrepreneurial group, because I really got tired of working with entrepreneurs, whether they're videographers, web designers, bookkeepers, any service-based business that did not seem to understand their own time commitments. Do not tell me that you're going to have something to me on Friday, and I go to check my email on Friday, and there's nothing. Don't do that. Don't do that to your clients. That becomes such a relationship irritant that you are now creating such friction in your relationship with your client and stress on yourself that there's no way that they can consider you your solution. You're eroding trust every time you do that. I was getting video done by one person, and I was like, oh my, do you not know how many video projects that you have going on? I mean, do I need to come to your business and be your project manager? You see where this came from? And it's not that I think I know everything. Just like we heard everything. I don't know everything, but I know a lot about this. And because I do, I'm like, I can't just sit still and not, maybe I can suggest some tools for you. But here's the thing, and here's why I love the simplicity of project management. Because I said it's sexy, but it's simple. And one way, as you're being their project manager, one of my favorite references is the project triangle. We call it the triple constraint. Because on every project, there are 3 things that are competing. There are 3 dynamics. And the first is the scope. That's what you're going to do. And you figure that out and decide, what are your goals? What do you want me to do? Like, how can I help you? And also, for those of you that do workshops, who in the organization is going to provide this? Who, you start figuring out who's going to do what, because they will assume you're going to do all of it. Their assumption is that you are going to show up, that you're going to put out donuts, you're going to pour the coffee, you better define what that scope is, who's going to do what, or else you are setting yourself up for failure and for the expectations to not be met, because they just assumed, we know what happens there, that you were going to show up and do everything. And you're like, oh, no. So make that clear. Make the scope of work clear. And then after you figure out the scope of work, then that's when you figure out your time. And that's where I get on my high horse about how much time do you have? Can you commit to this client? How much time are they going to commit to you? Because you're entering into a relationship and an engagement. And it could be as short as a 1-day delivery, a 1-hour delivery, or it could be as long as 6 months or a year. Either way, it is a relationship. And relationships are about trust, mutual respect, and mutual benefit. We always want to think win-win as we establish this. So how much time do we have? And then how much is it going to cost? Now, this is where I asked the question. This is why I like the fun of value-based pricing. We were chatting last night. Pam, where'd you go? Because I just wanted to see you. I'm sorry, I said Pam, but I'm looking for Jeannie. Sorry. Because we were talking about this last night. And actually, it was Pam and I were on a panel for the National Speakers Association Thrive in 2021. 2021, it was actually hybrid. I was still at home. We had this, and she did an amazing job. Y'all give it up for Pam and how she managed that. I had to, because what she did on the national stage was also another reason why NSA Georgia. She did a great job. And on that panel, we were talking about, it was myself and 3 other colleagues within NSA, and we were talking about what are some different ways that we can build our businesses and grow our businesses. And we had decided backstage, and I brought it up, 4 boys. I said, oh, let's do like a pardon the interruption, kind of dynamic. And they're like, what do you know about ESPN? I'm like, 4 boys, husband, ESPN on a loop. And the theme for the conference was sports, and Pam was walking around in a referee uniform. So we were having fun creating this. The point is, Barry Banther, our beloved Barry Banther, past president of the NSA, said, oh, I use value-based pricing. I price on value. And I said, well, value-based pricing is great, but I can't take my kids to McDonald's with value-based pricing. What does that mean? How do you define how much you're going to charge? How many of you are asking that question? Well, here's the answer. No, I don't really have the answer. The leaning in towards that solution, because the answer is different for everyone. It depends. It depends on your expertise. It depends on the market. It depends on the value that you are providing. This is where Barry was going. The value you are providing for your client. How much does that pain point cost them? When you can get that number, when you can find out how expensive retention is. So if you're working on culture, talk to your clients about how costly poor culture is. I always tell my clients it's cheaper to keep her. Isn't that what we all heard? We love that song. Work on ways to engage and retain your top talent so you don't have to keep grabbing new people. Yes, you recruit, it's part of your cycle, but if you have high turnover, that's expensive. So talk to your clients in the language of the boardroom, which is money. Don't keep telling them how wonderful you are, how I'm your solution. Talk to them about how much it's costing them to stay where they are. That A that we talked about, that current state, it's expensive, it's painful. Let them get the emotions out, but make sure they calculate and count the cost. And when they count that cost, and that's when you say, yeah, that's how much I'm going to charge you, right? Okay, not exactly like that, but you factor that in. That becomes a factor. And what also becomes a big factor is making sure that you maintain quality. I always put a Q in the middle of the triple constraint, and if you were to Google triple constraint, you'll see several different flavors of this. But ultimately, quality has to remain in the middle because quality is a non-negotiable. If you are working with a client and you are operating in excellence, excellence equals quality. Now, quality and grade are not the same thing. A Lexus and a Toyota are both very high quality vehicles. But which one costs more? Lexus. It's not because of the quality. They meet quality standards. It's because of grade. So as you look at your business and you begin to elevate your business, elevate your grade based on delivering quality. You can't elevate your grade if you're not delivering quality. You can't move from Toyota to Lexus if you haven't mastered quality. And quality means doing what you say you're going to do, providing what you say you're going to provide. In the IT world, when we look at quality, when we do quality analysis back in my IT project management days, that means, is the software stable? Is it user-friendly? And then we say, whoa, what user? Because Three Finger Willie down in South Texas, he didn't even know how to use a computer. So user-friendly is variable. So you get really clear and you get really specific on what it means to stick that landing. That's quality. But as you're also beginning to negotiate with the price, you're also looking at the scope again. Go back around. Because now if they want more, it's going to cost you more. Oh, you want me to do 5 sessions? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, volume discount. Oh, but wait a minute. You want to get really clear on that scope of work and make sure that it's not just constantly just changing willy-nilly. That's called scope creep in the project management world. And we know likey. Scope changes, we love because scope changes increase dollars. Scope creep creates chaos. Difference is the management of them. Everybody good on that? We good so far? Let me check in with y'all. We good in the Zoom world? What's that Q stand for? Somebody in Zoom tell me what's the Q for in the middle of the triangle. What's the Q?
No one's coming off mute, but I'm going to answer quality. Oh, Lisa said quality.
Okay, somebody, all right, it's quality. Because quality is excellence. And your differentiator in the market is the quality that you provide. It's not your website, it's not your headshots, it's beautiful. It's the quality of service that you provide. How many of you on a keynote arrive early and stay late? For a client's expectations, that's quality service. How many of you weave in stories or points from your clients into your program? That's quality connection. So that Q for quality impacts several different variables and several different parts of our engagement. And again, whether it's keynote, workshop, longer term consulting, quality is about meeting what the client expects, but first agreeing on what the client expects. And don't promise something that you can't deliver. One thing that I've heard often in NSA that makes me wiggle in my seat is, and you probably heard this, sell it and then build it. Have y'all heard that? Have you heard that one, Jeannie? And that comes from the, there's a market for it. But you know what that really means? That you've now sold something, and now you are going to scramble to try to make sure that you ensure that there is quality. Not only is that incredibly stressful, it is not likely to give you the quality that you want for your brand or that your client deserves in the work that they do. So while there's some validation in finalizing it after you sold it, please at least have a blueprint. Remember that house? Houses start with a blueprint. Have that first. It'll save your life. It really will. Okay. So this is the triple constraint. And this is how we use this. And not only are we using this in planning, but we're using this throughout the engagement to keep going back to it and say no. Because now if you want us to do something faster, it's probably going to cost you more money. And if now you say your budget just got cut, you might have to look at that scope. So we're constantly adjusting, we're constantly negotiating. I teach all of my project managers to just pull out a napkin, pull out a piece of paper, draw this on it, and explain to your clients why we're having the conversation that we're having, because otherwise someone's going to be disappointed. And my job as a project manager for this engagement or for anything that I do is to help ensure that expectations are met or exceeded. And that's what it boils down to. Then after we figured out that scope, what it's going to be, now we break it down. And this is the fun part in a project management workshop, which I was trying to figure out how can we do that in here. And that is that we create a work breakdown structure. Yeah, the good old WBS in the project management world. See, yeah, it seems unsexy, but really, it's just a breakdown of stuff. Because how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And we use this not only for ourselves to understand how we're going to deliver this scope of work, but also so that our clients understand when certain deliverables can be expected. When are we going to do a review at this point? What are our milestones? How is the work going to be structured? How are we going to break it down? Because it starts with the vision. It starts with the vision that they had. Remember, you were on the phone and you told them to envision your organization, and they've got this wonderful picture of everybody sitting on the beach and just singing Kumbaya, and then you're like, well, we can't really do that, right? So you're helping set the vision, and you're co-creating a strategy to help get there. Because then you take that and you identify their goals. What are the goals? What is that we're going to accomplish? And how are we going to work together in tandem to make sure that this happens? And then we're finally going to break those goals into tasks. And this is where people go, oh, this is where project management is really unsexy. How many of you use a task management software to tell you to pay your bills? Task to pay your bills. Don't forget to pay your bill. How do you know to pay your bills? Y'all, she says she doesn't. You have them on all on auto pay, right? He does. Oh, okay. Somebody else does. He's the auto pay. He's auto pay. How do you know to do your taxes? Ooh, that's coming up. Okay, so you have someone managing that on your behalf. But you know, if they don't, if he messes up, they're coming for you, not him. That's right. True story.
I set alerts for both questions on my calendar.
She set alerts for both questions on her calendar. So using a calendar or using a task management system. Because calendars can help us manage tasks, they can help us manage events, right? But as we're talking about tasks where we put reminders for, don't forget to do this, make sure you do this. Do the same thing for your engagement. Don't rely on what you think you remember. Write it all down. I use Asana. I love Asana. I live in Asana. There's an Asana app. I'm always in the app. There's Asana for desktop. I'm always in the website. And you can collaborate. But it helps put that together in a work breakdown structure. Here's our goal. Here's how we're going to break it down. Here's when this part is due. Here's when this part is due. Here's this check-in with the client. Here's this pre-event call with the client. Here's this managing a task list. How many of you use e-speakers to manage your speaking business? A few of you. Huh, that's interesting. Be sure and tell Joe that. Yeah. Oh, okay. So when you do the find a speaker, it's not showing up right?
There's lots of things not showing up right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I say this again because I just talked to them this past week. So.
There you go.
If you're one of those who's had trouble with the e-speakers, please check it again and personally call me. I just was on the phone with their support last week about that for NSA Georgia. So let me know what's happening out there for you. Thanks.
Thank you. That's awesome. And I get nothing in return for this. As a matter of fact, I think Joe is going to owe me. But eSpeakers is incredibly helpful in managing your action list or task list for what you're doing for a speaking event. You can also use it to manage coaching engagements. And I also even use it for workshops. I just have a different list for the different engagements based on what is standard. And then I adapt that because every client's needs are different. Okay? So having some system that helps you, and again, I don't want to get too detailed into systems, but I am going to stick around, and I'll geek out with anybody who wants to geek out because, well, my inner geek just lit up. Having some way of systematizing. But it's so funny because I was an early adopter for a Franklin planner. I I was that kid in high school that had a Franklin planner. People were like, what is that? What are you doing? I'm like, open that Velcro. Oh, I'm glad you asked. So here's what I'm doing on Friday. Yeah, took it to college, yes. Because without some sort of writing down and committing to what you were doing, it's going to fall by the wayside. And that's no different for commitments you make to your clients. We want to make sure that we write them down. And in some cases where it's necessary, also let them see them so we can co-create this, design this strategy together. And that gets buy-in, especially, like I said, if they have responsibilities and maybe what you're doing is dependent on something that they do, like did they book the conference room? I am literally going to Fargo, North Dakota tomorrow, and she just booked the conference room the other day. I was like, I don't want to wander around Fargo. I really like to know where I'm going in Fargo. So I'm already not excited about going to Fargo. Cut that out. Cut that out. Right? I mean, so, but it's like, what, you know, and so the whole goal too, and this is what's important, this is what I found too in business. As much as we commit to our commitments and honor our commitments, our clients don't always have that skill set. And so one of the value adds that I provide for my clients, while I'm not going to be your assistant, I'm not your VA, but I'm also going to help make sure this remains on track to the best of my ability. I'm going to keep pestering you, and we're going to have an agreement up front. You're not going to be annoyed by this. I'm going to find the right cadence, but I'm going to keep asking, and I'm not going to assume that you've done something that you've not communicated to me, because we can already go back to that, what happens when we assume. So I want clear lines of communication, clear ownership of responsibilities. You ask me to be the project manager. Otherwise, if you own it, I'll just show up and glow up. But that's never what they want. That is not what they want. They want all the pre-work. And it's the pre-work, it's the pre-event management that gets you called back. It's not sucking on stage, too. But it's that gets you called back. Being easy to work with. I tell my clients I want at the end of the engagement for you to say, wow, on every one of those areas. Wow, she killed it on stage. And wow, working with her was so easy. And wow. And wow. I don't want to uh-oh. I don't like uh-ohs. I don't like uh-ohs. So we want to make sure that we're breaking it down and putting it all together. And that's how we decide, that's how we devise a plan. We put a plan together. And then we got to do the work. We put a plan together, now we got to do the work. And doing the work is where I said we have to keep monitoring and checking in on our client. Where are we with the conference room? Where are we with this confirmation number? I appreciate that you are working on providing me the roster, but can I have that by X date? If you don't communicate to people with a sense of urgency, not emergency, because that's, oh, please don't realize this morning that, oh, I need this today. No. Proactively, I repeated that word 3 times, right? Proactively manage our shared commitments so that they can honor their commitments in time as well. Because look, they hired you because they can't do it themselves. Whatever it is, they hired you because they can't. And when people hire us because they can't, we have to take that honor very seriously. So we want to do the work. We want to make sure that we work the plan. We put the plan together, work the plan. We want to make sure that we're adapting the plan. If things change, let's make our adjustments and make our adjustments in real time. Then we want to communicate those changes. Please don't let the changes go uncommunicated because, oh, I assume, no. Remove the assumptions when you're working with your clients who are your key stakeholders. It's one of my favorite project management worlds because they have a stake in what you're working on. It's not just your engagement. They have a stake in it. Make sure you're communicating with them, monitor your progress, see how things are going along the way. And as you're doing the work, make sure you do the work as a team. Oh, I think my image didn't show up. Okay, that's fine. Imagine, click one more time. Yeah, it probably just didn't import. Imagine with me, is this what we do with speakers? See what I just did there? Imagine an elder man. An elder white man actually looks a lot like my buddy Matt here. He really does. I wish I had the picture. I'm going to show you later. Now, Matt. A silver-haired, he could have been silver at 30, and actually he was. That is actually part of the story. Anyway, is a silver-haired man running, and I love this picture, running, and he's in a sweatsuit, and high school age girls are running around him. So I got a picture of my track coach because he is a perfect illustration of doing it as a team. And Matt, I know you don't feel picked on because we go too far back. You good? I'm good. Okay. Be careful of that with your audience, though. I just happen to know him. But you have to work the plan as a team, not only as a team with your client, but also making sure that you surround yourself with a team that operates in excellence like you do. So if you have a team member that sends out the billing, or if you have a team member that sends out correspondence, ensure that they are operating with the same standards of excellence that you are, because they are representing your brand. Even if they are independent assistant and they've got their own website, they're representing you with your clients. And also, you're making sure that you are continuing to have opportunities to team build with your client. So the you in the middle of that is still making sure that you're surrounded by other people who are ensuring and are committed to these outcomes and just as committed as you are. Because if you're working with culture, if you're working with, we want to make sure that we have better sales revenue, whatever this outcome is that they want, they need it. They need it badly enough to write you a check. If they need it badly enough to write you a check, make sure that they're not a spectator. Make sure that you engage them in the process. Okay? So everybody envision that? I'm going to send you all the picture. Coach Reed. But after you do the work, you always want to make sure that you review the outcomes. Now, at the end of my speaking engagements, if I'm doing a keynote, for example, a 1-hour keynote, at the end of that, I want to make sure that I have a debrief with my clients so that we can review the outcomes. I know you said you wanted your team members to be engaged. You wanted them to learn, these points that we talked about, and I incorporated your organization's values into it, and so we talked about that. Do you feel like those were sufficiently emphasized? Yes. Okay. What about the energy in the room? It's a big question I always ask, especially when I'm an opening keynote. I can't come in there and be like, You got to give them what you told them you were going to give them. How did you feel about that? They typically lead the conversation. Oh my God, we loved your energy. Like I usually can't even unmute my mic before my clients. Oh my God, I loved your energy. I love it. So I began to realize I need to put that on my website because everybody, that's what they take away. But I'm like, did y'all learn something? Because And so we talk through that and we make sure that those outcomes were met. And then talk about how can I serve you? If you are not leveraging a keynote engagement to build more business, then you are, as our beloved Walter Bond said, you are chasing dates. And if you're just chasing dates, you're gigging, and that's not really a business. It's fun, but it's more struggle than work. But if you build business into that and make sure that you look and even begin to quantify, because this is one of the things I do in my CRM, I quantify how much money should I be able to get for my follow-up services? And that's the conversation that I'm having, not right off the bat, but that's what I'm already anticipating. Because even from the moment that we first signed the contract and started working, I've already sown the seeds that these are the other things that I can do. And one of the things I picked up as well is I include that. Even if they want me just for a keynote, my proposal shows the other solutions that I can provide. Because I want you to know every time you talk to Alana Hill, the Miss Engineer Way, 2 Hill Consulting, these are the ways that we can help serve you. And then we have this formal conversation. And in this conversation, we talk about some of the ways that I can serve them and see if they want to partner. At this point, this is inside sales. Because now I know them, I know their managers, I know their pain points. I've probably been given confidential documents to help incorporate certain things in there. And I'm in their accounting system. Gold. Because by the time they jump through all the W-9 hoops and all that other stuff, they're just like, if you have not upset them, they'll want to go further. Don't miss that. Because people want to do work with people that they know, like, and trust. Nobody wants to go back out to Google, go back out to the market, find someone else. You're here, you know us, we like you. You may have mangled a syllable in your speech at one point, but it's okay. I think you do really, okay, this is going to be great. And make sure that that review becomes that inside sales conversation, but focusing on what we've accomplished and how much more we can accomplish. Because you see, it intentionally is a cycle. You see that? Because now, from that, now we look at what we decide next, and then we go through it again. Because from this review, we may find something new, or something may have happened and shifted in the organization from our original call, and now you get this new intel. So these are all opportunities to gather more intelligence so that you can serve your clients better. So use those opportunities. So decide, devise, do, and review. That is the framework. Those are the steps that will help you to be your client's solution. And here you can grab a snapshot. Actually, you don't have to grab it. Those of you taking pictures, don't worry, I got you. I have a handout in Talkadot that you're going to be able to get in just a second. But I do want to pause and emphasize the point. You see what's different here? What's different of this version than what I showed a minute ago? The quality emotional intelligence. Yes, EQ is right in the middle. And the geek in me says EQ is squared. Nerd it out. EQ is squared. You have to square that. That means you need a heaping, helping dose of emotional intelligence as you work with your clients, as you communicate, as you manage your own emotions. Because when they say something, not today. Not today. When you want to send that email, not today. And as you're working with clients who may have difficult challenges within their organization, like I said, we talk about work therapy, and especially for you in the work that you do, that's already integrated in what you're doing. But if you're not in a business line that lends you to leveraging emotional intelligence in the work that you do, in other words, you're not necessarily in leadership, still make sure that you yourself build your emotional intelligence competencies so that you can manage conflict with your clients, with your team, and also be able to balance grace and accountability, because that becomes a big part of it. I tell my clients that emotional intelligence boils down to knowing that at some point everybody needs a kick in the butt and they need a hug. But you got to know when to do which. Class dismissed, right? Now you know emotional intelligence. Go forth and use it. So that's the framework. I'm going to send that to you guys. Decide, devise, do, and review. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, a couple things no, they didn't get moved. They got moved in my head. Because here's where I want to help you to reflect. What we were talking about, being your client solution, is about the window. That's how you use project management to deliver excellent results to your clients, to the marketplace, to the organizations and people that you serve. But you also want to use that in the mirror. Decide, devise, do, and review. It's how you commit to your own goals. It's how you grow as an individual. It's how you build resilience by creating sustainable goals. And I'm here to tell you, a business is only as resilient as its owner. So if you have not mastered, or in the process of mastery of resilience, how you continue to move your goals forward, your business will be it will be more cyclical than Six Flags best roller coaster. So if you want more stability in your life and in your business, make sure that you are spending an adequate enough time in the mirror and continuing your own personal and professional growth so that you can deliver excellence to your clients each and every time. Excellence does not happen by accident. You have to be intentional. So I'm going to take a quick second. Hold on a second. Wait, there it goes. I'll come back. If you could please scan this QR code. I started using Talkadot, and many of us in NSA have, and there is a partnership with NSA on Talkadot, and I would appreciate your feedback. I love your cheers, your jeers. I'll give you a moment. Some people, I don't like to talk in everybody's backswing. Take a couple of moments, fill out this feedback. I really appreciate it. We'll answer some questions, and then we'll wrap up. Thank you. All righty, I appreciate that. For those of you, if you're still filling out that form, please continue. I wanted to share with you a big question. Wait a minute, hold on just a second. There we go. Because this is the $1 million question for you and for your business. What are you engineered for? We talked about gifts, unique talents, but what is your unique purpose? And how do you incorporate that unique purpose, the collection of gifts that you have and the reason to use those gifts? How do you incorporate that into your business? And how do you ensure that everything that happens to you happens for you? How do you ensure that every single lived experience that you have benefits you and your business? So one of the ways that businesses grow is because the owner grows. So as you're looking for ways and the secret sauce to grow your business, grow yourself. Is there a body of work that you need to dive into to grow, to take you to the next level of mastery, to the next level of being the expert? Do that. But just because you see someone else posting and sharing that that might not be yours. Understand your purpose. Or as Hebrews says, run with perseverance the race marked out for you. And as you do that, your business will grow. You'll have more fulfillment. You'll make a greater impact. You'll be able to serve NSA Georgia even more effectively. And you'll be a change agent in your community and in the world. As iron sharpens iron, so one sharpens another. And NSA Georgia, you've just been sharpened. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Alana Hill. Let's thank her. You see you're getting a standing ovation. Come back and stay with us for just a minute.
Thank you.
Richard Harden, I don't know if y'all met yet. All right.
Hey.
Did we say it was sexy? Project management sexy, right?
I'm bringing sexy back.
That's right. And Alana's going to be here with us afterwards to answer some questions. Speaker Academy gets her first, okay? So remember that. She's going to join right over there by the connection corner. I want to say something about that, too. If you have books that you'd like to share with us so that people can see them and see what you've written and that kind of thing, connection corner over here is always here every time we meet in this main stage. So feel free to bring those. Alana Hill just told us how to grow our business, how to keep growing it. In addition to her generosity of being here from Houston, being here with us so generously last night and today, she is also offering to auction off an 1.5-hour session with her. So if you are starting some new project, maybe you're new to speaking, etc., or maybe there's a new project. I know our team, we're starting a new project, even though I've been in this a long time, or you're about to take that project to an elevated level. All right? Is there something you could use 1.5 hours of this project management speaker expert? And we're going to auction off 1.5 hours, and she is generously donating that back to NSA Georgia. So I would like to introduce Richard Harden, our Director of Speaker Education and all things auction, to start this bidding at $250. Alana, would you like to tell us anything else about what they might get out of that?
Am I still hot? Okay.
You're hot. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm still hot. Yes, no, I love leveraging your strengths to help incorporate those into your business. I'm also available we can look over proposals. We can look over how you are systematizing your business. Because here's the thing, which I didn't say specifically. I have been in business for 18 years next month. Yay! And I know a thing or two about being in business and about being our client's solution. So anywhere you want to go with that, it's your 90 minutes.
All right, 90 minutes. Do you understand that? Not project creep. All right, so 90 minutes. All right, Mr. Harden, start that bidding at $250, please.
So $250. Do I have a starting bid? Judy at $250.
Judy Herman.
Do I see $300? $300. Also on Zoom, you're eligible to participate.
That's right,
Now remember,
Candace,
during
keep
this
us-
time, we're going to decide. We're going to devise, do, and review. Yes.
That's right. Do and review.
300. 300. Did it?
300
That is
Matthew.
Matthew. All right. 300 going once. Do I see 350? 350. 350. Anyone out there on Zoom? Anyone in the room? Ooh, I know how much a project management professional charges per hour.
I do too.
400. Oh.
Did you just bid
I
400?
served myself in the auction.
Did you just bid 400? 400 with Richard Hart. Let's hear it for that. Do we have 450? Do we have 450? Are you going to bid against yourself? Do we have 450? Judy? They all go back to NSA Georgia. Thank you. Thank you. It's worth it. Of course it's worth it. It's worth even
400
more.
going once, 400 going twice.
Look at him. He's closing it down. And it's 400 to Richard Hardon. Thank you, and thank you, Alana. All right, she is going to be meeting with, if I could have our Speaker Academy graduates, the Magnificent Seven, and those who have just signed up for the next Speaker Academy, go ahead and head toward that ficus tree back there. Next to Sam. Raise your hand, Sam. Not behind the screen, but just in front. Y'all go ahead.
In front
Alana's
of
going to
Sam,
go there.
behind
Thank
the
you.
tangerines. Behind the
All
tangerines.
right, behind the tangerines. That's right. They're orange for Alana. All right. Remember that you have your handouts there. She's also, I think you get something by filling out the QR code. And we want to thank you, Alana, for being our solution today. We appreciate it so much. Remember Mark LeBlanc, what day? April 6th. He's headlining then. April 6th. What happens on March 14th? New member orientation. What happens on March 21st? Happy hour in Peachtree Corners. What happens on March 13th, Speaker Academy folks? The new cohort starts. Okay, got it. All right, and we'll see you back here on April 6th. Be watching our website, nsageorgia.org. As always, I'm Dr. Jeannie Snyder and proud to be your president.